paying cash, and walking out the door with the product. You can't do that through the mail. If you are buying or selling gold, silver, or platinum, it's basically cash and carry.
Fox Valley Coins. Our products are as good as, well, you get the idea. Don't buy and sell through the mail. Deal with a real store. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville for an investment with a real silver lining. Check out foxvalleycoins.com.
Are you a CPG supplier whose retail supply chain is keeping you up at night? Are you tired of worrying about product flow to store shelves and paying retailer fines? At RJW Logistics Group, we know that performance is your top concern, and we're turning today's supply chains into business growth drivers. Through our retail consolidation program, we're able to combine multiple suppliers' orders to create a full truckload destined for the same distribution center. With space and cost being ultimately shared, your transportation expenses are reduced by 20 to 30% compared to LTL. Our industry-leading performance levels are over 98% on time and 99% in full with nearly 100% inventory accuracy. Our integrated supply chain management solutions drive visibility, scalability, and total logistics performance. RJW offers transparent pricing, agility to pivot faster, and optimize the overall retail supply chain. To learn more about RJW Logistics Group, visit rjwgroup.com. Again, that's rjwgroup.com.
Are you looking for a fun and exciting way to connect with God and learn about His incredible world? Then In Grace has an adventure for you. Join Jim Scudder Jr. every Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. Each week, Jim Scudder Jr. shares powerful stories and insights about God's Word and His world. Whether you're a longtime believer or just starting to explore your faith, you'll find something to learn, inspire, and encourage you on In Grace. You're also invited to join Pastor Scudder as he preaches every Sunday at 11 a.m. at the Quentin Road Baptist Church. At Quentin Road, you'll find a warm and welcoming atmosphere, uplifting worship, and a message of hope that will help you grow in your faith and walk with God. So don't miss In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. on Sunday mornings at 6:30 a.m. And join us at Quentin Road Baptist Church on Sundays at 11 a.m. For more information, call 800-78-GRACE or go to ingraceradio.com.
Ask any old football player or fan, and they'll tell you offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Sean Thompson here, and you know who else knows that. It's Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. He knows winning doesn't just happen. It's a result of having a good coach who draws up the right strategy and then makes adjustments along the way. So think of Tom as your retirement defensive coordinator, protecting your retirement savings against inflation, market loss, or a pick six from Uncle Sam. With Tom's complimentary retirement roadmap, you'll find out what's working in your game plan or what's not. If you're serious about winning in retirement, call 630-934-1855. Ask for the retirement roadmap. That's 630-934-1855. Or find Tom online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig and Leslie Bolanos Sunday mornings at 10. Learn more at investwithwmg.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It happened again to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday at a Chamber of Commerce event when it came time for question and answer from those in attendance. This occurred to Mr. Freeze.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
Pay no attention to the.
It's a reporter's fault. Yeah.
To the 30-second freeze frame on Mitch McConnell. When he had the first freeze up a few weeks ago, that was at the U.S. Capitol at a presser he was having with colleagues. You had neurologists say could have been a seizure, could have been a mini stroke. It's eerie to watch because he's just a statue.
Well, it's so painful to watch.
He's 81 years old. Not only is it time for Mitch McConnell to go, but is it time to impose age limits? We've had this discussion now because of the nature of the presidential candidates and because of Mitch McConnell and because of DIFI, and her daughter has power of attorney over her, but somehow she still has the capacity to be a U.S. senator. Okay, sure. If we have age minimums to vote and to serve, 25 to be a rep, 30 to be a senator, 35 to be a president, should we have age maximums? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Well, his aide said that he felt momentarily lightheaded, and that was the reason for the pause during the press conference yesterday.
Lying to us is not going to help.
No, that they're going to consult a physician prior to his next event.
That seems like a judicious approach to the situation because, again, you're having neurologists diagnose this from afar, but
he did fall, though, a few months ago. Remember, he was at a D.C. hotel, and he fell, and he was concussed, and I don't know if this is from that. Well, I know old people fall.
Here's the bottom line. When you're in a position of authority like that, you have a duty to disclose your health condition. Do we have to go through this John Fetterman thing again where we pretend that there's nothing wrong with him? Are we going to do that?
Well, that's what I feel like we're doing. We've seen this movie before where we act like, it'll be better next time or he'll be fine. It's painful to watch. It's like elder abuse. Keeping him up there.
It's not elder.
Well, they kept him up there. Like, just take him away.
It's not. I'm not saying he doesn't have agency, and then he recovers, and he can, there's cognitive ability there. He can speak. He can make his own decisions. He's not ceded his power of attorney to someone. So Mitch McConnell is just as culpable as John Fetterman is for the choices that he's making. Stop removing agency from people unless it's appropriate, like determined by a court of law. Somebody do something about this. Mitch McConnell has been there for a long time. He's responsible for the choices he's making. The people of Kentucky are responsible for the choices that they've made, too. The people of California, the people of Pennsylvania, they're responsible for the choices they made. Stop ceding responsibility to responsible parties. The voters, the politicians, the people who make choices.
And ironically, the question that was asked of him was about running again for re-election.
That's right.
In
26.
In 26. That's right around the corner. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us all morning long at 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
He'll be 83-ish in 26. He's got another 6-year term in her. Look at DIFI. She's 90. She's still there. She's on her way out now. But,
she's on the driveway home, if you know what I mean.
As is every person in their 90s. But the point is that she's not running again. But Mitch McConnell can look to her, Strom Thurmond, others in the past, and say, yeah, I got another 6 years in me. Why not?
Well, why do they stay on so long? Why don't politicians realize it's time to
retire? Why do you think they stay on?
The money, the power. They don't want to retire. Some people miss the clowns and the circus. Some people miss the circus and not the clowns. And some people just can't give up the power. right? Am I onto something?
Why did Mark Kirk not retire when he should have? It's another example. Because for a lot of these people, remember who they are, most of them. To invoke the best description I've ever heard of Congress that comes from Dennis Miller, a bunch of mediocre intellects Earl-shibed into looking somewhat consequential. Most of these people are not consequential other than their public office. And so their entire identity, power, status, money, their entire identity is wrapped up in being a member of Congress. And so then they go back home and they're a husk of their former selves because, people move on. Well, you're not the person I go to solve problems or to try and get some insider deal. You don't have the influence you used to have unless you flip around and become a lobbyist. Then maybe you can retain some fraction of the influence. So it's on to somebody else, and they don't want it to be on to somebody else. Larry and Carol Stream, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thank you for taking my call. I'm trying to refresh my memory from civics. If something happens to the president, the vice president, the Speaker of the House becomes president, and isn't the president of the Senate the next one in line, which, assuming the Republicans take over the Senate in 824, that would terrify me that Mitch McConnell could still be there.
Well, I mean, you're getting well down the line of succession, too. We've
absolutely. Well, there's actually been a couple of really good books about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're not saying that where you're, but it's a long line of success.
Yeah, and then we have to worry about who's in the cabinet after the president pro temp of the Senate. Yes, right. Thanks for the call, Larry. But yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, Republicans should be talking about a replacement for him, and I've heard John Thune's name thrown around. Maybe Joni Ernst. I don't know who's going to take his spot.
Nobody, as long as he's there. But I mean, Rick Scott is the one that's. Thune is his shine boy, and Rick Scott is the one who ran the RSCC last cycle, and he's angling for it. Tom and Oswego. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Hey, good morning, Ben. Sorry. I hear them keep talking about President Biden's age and some of the age of these politicians. I wish they'd start talking about the competency. I don't care how old they are, as long as they can execute the duties. And me personally, Dan, I don't know, Amy, what do you think? I still think term limits would be a better thing, just to get some of these people out of there, because they're not going to leave voluntarily.
Well, I mean, thanks for the call, Tom, but I'm not sure I understand, like, age limits. No age limits, but term limits. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but I mean, the whole idea of sort of trying to artificially turn over the composition of legislative body. Yeah, I'm actually an opponent of it. I don't want age limits, and I don't want term limits. First of all, the idea that term limits reduce corruption has really not been proven out at the state level. The state of New Jersey has term limits. Do you?
How's that going?
Do people think of New Jersey as a model of good governance?
No,
not really. Corruption there is almost as endemic as it is in Chicago and Illinois. And the age limits, I agree with Tom. I mean, I think it's a competency issue. I mean, there are people that are whip smart and certainly as able in their 80s as people in their 50s and 60s. So I think it is on the individual, and also don't forget the electorate. If you want to elect somebody like John Fetterman to the Senate, you're allowed to do so. What's he, 50? If you want to send Mitch McConnell back in 2 years to the U.S. Senate, if he's still running, that's up to you, Kentucky. That's why we have 50 laboratories of democracy.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump takes to social media with a message for the COVIDians at 5:38.
And Mayor Johnson runs from the microphones. It's classic. But now let's head into the future. Here is Mike's.
What is Chuck Grassley, 89, serving in Iowa, runs 3 miles every morning at 4 a.m.?
And he and Ron Johnson have been, on the job when it comes to, all of this intel deep state stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
He has all his faculties.
He does right now anyway. 55 degrees at 5:30 on AM 560, The Answer. And we're watching developments in South Africa this morning. 73 are dead after a fire at a multi-story apartment building in Johannesburg. It's been used by the homeless and others in low-income situations in that South African city. An emergency services spokesperson says another 52 were injured in the blaze that broke out around 1 a.m. What once was Hurricane Idalia remains a serious threat as a tropical storm bearing down on North Carolina. Recovery efforts are underway in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis.
We have not seen the type of loss of life like we did at Hurricane Ian in the coastal areas. They did experience significant storm surge, and so we're cautiously optimistic that we're going to end up okay on that.
National Hurricane Center warning of life-threatening flash flooding in the overnight hours. Tornado watches were also issued for parts of North Carolina. American Airlines flight attendants are authorizing a strike. The Association of Professional Flight Attendants has voted overwhelmingly in favor of a work stoppage and plans to demonstrate at 12 airports. One-time powerful and influential Roman Catholic cardinal will not stand trial on a child sexual abuse case. Theodore McCarrick once served as Archbishop of Washington, D.C. before advancing to cardinal. He was defrocked in 2019 when the Vatican determined McCarrick had molested a young adult seminarian, as well as children, according to the Vatican report. Chicago police remembering former CPD Superintendent Matt Rodriguez. Rodriguez died yesterday at the age of 87. He joined the department in 1959 before becoming superintendent appointed by Mayor Richard M. Daley in 1992. A 5-year-old Chicago boy is dead following an apparent accidental shooting in Gary, Indiana. The child picked up a gun at a relative's home early yesterday and shot himself. That gun was apparently brought into the home by a man who placed it down and fell asleep. Coalition of congressional leaders, Illinois business officials, and immigration advocates want migrants entered into the workforce. Over 13,000 asylum seekers have arrived in Illinois over the past year. Illinois Democrat U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says allowing illegal immigrants to work would, he believe, help ease a labor shortage.
There are jobs that go vacant because American workers are not taking these jobs. These immigrants are ready to step in and take the hardest, dirtiest, roughest jobs imaginable because they always have.
Durbin giving his opinion. Currently, illegal immigrants cannot apply for work permits until 5 months after they've applied for any type of asylum in the U.S. Officials emphasize Chicago would be unable to continue supporting a growing number of illegal migrants in the city. So we're getting closer to the start of the NFL football season, and there's a bar just up the road in Milwaukee that will offer you a free drink when Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets lose this season. Rodgers spent 18 years as a Packer quarterback, but the owners of Jack's American Pub are not exactly rooting for the NFL quarterback. Rodgers coming off a down season with the Pack, but the Jets have high hopes with him at quarterback. Cubs claim their series against the Brew Crew with a 3-2 victory in the finale at Wrigley Field. Cubbies 3 back of Milwaukee now for first place in the NL Central, and a doubleheader on tap tomorrow against Cincinnati. White Sox winners over Baltimore 10-5. The Fire fell to Vancouver at Soldier Field 1-0. And week 1 of college football season is here. Florida's Gators in Salt Lake City squaring off against number 14 Utah tonight. In the Big Ten, Nebraska will duel with Minnesota in the Twin Cities. The news service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date, proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, tunein.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars. Cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at donnellyauctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
Rick here from Forever Remodeling. You probably heard me talk about how our unique design-build process removes the normal problems of hiring a design and construction company separately. But just don't take my word for it. Listen to these customer reviews. Kelly W. says, "From consultation to design to construction, my remodel flowed seamlessly." Adity J says, "We were thrilled to have a full-service remodeling firm take all the guesswork out of our project." And Caesar V says, "Forever Remodeling made what could have been a very stressful project extremely easy for us. They finished on time and did amazing work." Kitchens, bathrooms, basements, additions, whole house remodeling, whatever you need, our start-to-finish process delivers stunning results without the hassles, headaches, and stress. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
Visit Dennis Prager. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Mike Gallagher and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand with Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This trip of a lifetime to Israel is one you don't want to miss. Register today before it's too late at standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
O'Reilly Auto Parts proudly introduces new Brake Best Select Pro brake pads and rotors for superior stopping power and professional-grade performance. Stop at O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
5:39, quick update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time starts on the Kennedy inbound. Stop-and-go traffic between Austin and Montrose. And an accident on the left-hand shoulder on the Kennedy inbound at Cumberland. 30 minutes in from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike already at 31, 390 to the old post office. Dan Ryan, accident reported inbound, approaching 95th. The Reagan already slows up eastbound on 88 between Roosevelt and the Tri-State. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny, beautiful end to the month of August. High 77. Clear 59 overnight, sunny and 84 tomorrow. 55 at O'Hare, 44 this morning in Aurora. And your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump posted one of his sort of canned, prepared messages on a particular topic on social media yesterday. And it was on COVID. He's picking up what we've been picking up and discussing for the last several weeks, that the COVIDians are out and about trying to push mask mandates. You had, of course, the President Biden, the big guy, Mr. 10%, announcing that the new COVID booster shot coming online, it works, it's necessary, and I'm going to get Congress to fund it. So here's what President Trump had to say about those COVIDians, on behalf of us, if you agree with him.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates, and we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Is that your attitude? We will not comply?
Where was that attitude the first time around when he
Well,
was president?
Well, I understand, and the message would have been more powerful if there had been what we're always searching for from Trump, and we rarely, if ever, get, which is some humility, where he says, you know what, I learned my lesson. We made some mistakes when I was president. I made some mistakes.
I should have fired Fauci, especially on the way out, too.
Personnel choices also, not just firing Fauci, but I also now recognize that you can't outsource this to experts, that you have to take the input of experts, and then you have to make decisions that are rooted in a cost-benefit analysis. And so where we had much less perfect information in 2020, we have much better information now, which better informs the decision I would make the next go-around, and here's what I'm telling you I would do. If there was something that added a little humility to the context, that would be a lot more helpful. But regardless, we're here now, and there are some lessons, many lessons, to be learned, and Trump seems to be declaring that he's learned them without formally declaring that he made mistakes.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Because it's coming, guys. I know of a high school that they canceled one of their fall sports activities because a few girls had COVID. So you think it's not coming?
Yeah,
it's here.
Yeah,
wake up.
I actually don't think it's coming. It's not going to be It's not going to be anything like it was the first go around. And as cynical as I am about the American electorate writ large, there are like vast differences between segments of that electorate. And I don't think you're going to see compliance with mandates. I don't even think you're going to see mandates attempted in sensible places. And there's still a lot of sensible places that exist in America. So big city school systems, sure. Yeah. I think even in some of the suburbs in metro areas, you're not going to see this attempted. And if it is, you're going to see pushback you did not see the first go-round because of what I said before. We have a lot more information now. It's even penetrated the consciousness of some people who were silent, maybe not even participatory, but silent during the imposition of these mandates the first go-round. I think it's going to be very different, and I think they're going to be hard-pressed to get beyond the guidance stage to the mandate stage in most places in this country. Agree? Disagree? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Because now everything is being examined in a way that it wasn't. Let me give you an example.
Not climate change, but...
No, I'm on this topic.
Yeah.
Everything is being examined in a way it wasn't being examined before. When it was Operation Warp Speed, we didn't have a vaccine. Now, there were, questions raised at the time about processes. There was, we all heard what the standard length of development is. It's years, not months. It's going to be very difficult, but we'll see. We're doing our best. And there was, rooting for this vaccine to be developed in most quarters. This time, when the big guy comes out and says, I got a new booster coming online, everybody should take it because it's necessary, and I'm going to get Congress to fund it. I mean, right out of the gate, you've got Marty Makary, doctor and from Johns Hopkins that everybody should know by now. We speak to him often. Writing in the Wall Street Journal, Biden declared last week new booster shot works. It's necessary. Congress is going to fund it. Likely be recommended that everybody get it no matter whether they've gotten it before. Is this our new drug approval process? Yes. There are no human outcomes data on this new shot.
Thank you.
Which the FDA is expected to approve in the next 2 weeks, despite that fact. He goes on, undermining the normal scientific and regulatory process erodes public trust. Right. And if the public doesn't trust you, they're much less likely to comply to the compliance issue. Last fall, the administration, we've seen this actually in practice. So you're seeing the atrophy of compliance. And this is the segue to that. Last fall, Biden approved and recommended a novel COVID bivalent booster with no human data. Only 20.5% of American adults took it, and many were compelled to do so by employers or schools. So the bivalent booster recommended, same thing, I got a new booster, everybody should take it. 1 in 5 Americans did, and many under duress.
Yeah,
you
had to be boosted in order to keep your job.
Yeah, but the point is compliance.
Right, compliance.
The recommendation was based, this for the bivalent, was based on mouse data and failed to recognize that the 100,000-fold difference between a healthy young person and a comorbid elderly adult. The government paid $5 billion for 171 million doses, the vast majority of which went to waste. Why did it go to waste? Because a lot more people, not everybody, but a lot more people started to be skeptical in a healthy way of what they were being told versus what they were seeing play out in their actual lives.
Yeah, because we were sold a bill of goods, a bunch of BS, that if you get vaccinated, you can't get COVID and you can't spread it to others. And that was a huge lie, and they know it. They knew it when those words were leaving their lips. They knew that was a lie. But that convinced a lot of Americans to get vaccinated. So when the booster came along, it's like, no. But that you're right. The only test group they had were those 8 mice. And Dr. Wardy lied. She got caught in a lie. Busted her out for that one. Said, oh, no, they've tested it out on people. No, they didn't. They tested it out on those 8 mice.
John in Naperville.
Yeah, I was wondering, will people have standing to sue against this stuff based upon the questioning of the efficacy, like the masks and also the vaccines?
You'll have standing to sue. Thanks for the call, John. You'll have standing to sue if you suffer a particular injury, like you're not allowed to go to school or you're not allowed to go to work. Then you potentially have a cause of action. By the way, here another study. This actually published and shared by the National Institutes for Health. A study, researchers again out of South Korea looked at two types of disposable medical grade masks made of polypropylene and polyurethane nylon, as well as several reusable cotton masks. KF95 masks in South Korea is what they looked at, which is the equivalent of KN95 here. What do they find? Masks contain dangerous amounts of toxins. I mean, which we've heard before, but there's the studies continue to pile up, and you got to keep studying it so you can keep reminding people what they should already know. But the arguments persist, and the ignorance certainly persists. So the studies persist.
We were wearing masks that were made in China. Hello, idiots.
The EPA recommends keeping toxic volatile organic compounds. That's an acronym. TVOCs. Toxic volatile organic compounds. EPA recommendation. So it's government recommendation, and here's the government versus the government. Below 0.5 parts per million in indoor air. The mask sample with the highest amount of these toxic volatile organic compounds had 4.8 parts per million in this study, which is 8 times the recommended limit. And the American Lung Association has guidelines and so forth as well. So, I mean, just here we go again. It's just another example of what is the benefit versus what are the potential harms, which is the question you have to apply, the cost-benefit analysis you have to apply, or you should have to apply, to every decision that you make of a public policy nature. We didn't do that last go-around. I don't think most politicians are going to get away with not doing it this go-around. My prediction. Dennis, Crystal Lake.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Amy, please, you gotta revisionist history on your part is getting very stale. You had more masks. You had masks on your mouth, head, and rear end when that stuff first came out.
Not on the bootay. I was out of my mind. I was crazy. I bought a Tyvek suit.
She was thinking about going to Beijing, and she was worrying about being anally swabbed.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what. She should have been.
Oh,
okay,
Dennis,
right.
That's not nice.
No. I'm just kidding.
All right, thanks for the call, Dennis. Frank and
Isn't
Arlington.
Dennis the guy who said he wants to, or he's got money or something, and buy sit next to a chick at a bar or something?
I believe the term he prefers is broad.
Broad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this broad doesn't think I got money and I got money.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where he got it from, we don't know exactly. I don't really want to know. I don't want to be an accomplice after the fact. All right. To the Omega, to Dennis's Alpha, Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. In the beginning, I wasn't going to take the vaccine because of something called antibody dependency enhancement, and the fact that people don't know about the biology of viruses and how they mutate. When you get a pathogen, your body attacks it, breaks it into thousands of different little pieces, and then figures out how to fight each part, and then it defeats it if it's able to. And then when you get a cold, that's an old virus that has some mutations on it, and that's why you get your inflammation, all the different conditions that you do, and then you fight that off and you have a cold. It makes no sense to have a vaccine to a flu-like type thing. It really doesn't, unless you have an immune system that is compromised. And then this regulatory capture of our government is sickening. It really is. Our government agencies like the FDA are completely worthless. They don't look out for the average person at all. That entire agency should be scrapped. And until Republicans are actually talking about ending and actually doing the complete elimination of funding for Fauci's organization and the FDA, they're not serious people. This government no longer has the consent of the governed. It isn't doing anything for us. It really isn't. It's disgusting what they're trying to do now, again, and it won't work.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Something else, too. This is rather important. Just a reminder, these, to Frank's point, the people that are out there at the riding point for you, protecting you, they're always promising safety if you just cede your sovereignty to them a little bit at a time. A look-see at the COVID outbreak in New York City by a think tank called the Empire Center has determined, they claim, presented a study on this, that the deadly outbreak that began in in the spring of 2020 that was so devastating to New York City.
Yeah.
It actually started a month earlier than was believed. Believed that it happened in early March, that was the outbreak. It was actually 3 to 4 weeks earlier. With the benefit of hindsight, it's now clear that New York's outbreak began a month or more earlier and spiked 6 times higher than shown by the available testing data, which was scarce in those days. The infection rate likely peaked around March 19th,
Wow.
3 weeks earlier than previously believed, an insight that might have significantly changed how officials handled the crisis. Well, I don't know if it would have changed it or not, but it certainly would have called into question how they were handling the crisis if you knew where you were actually at that point versus where you thought you were at. But they're on patrol, protecting us. They are these superhumans that have insights the common man doesn't have, forgetting that all these people in positions of governmental authority are just common men and women who got jobs in the government.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
FreedomSquare.com's business network is open for business, and you can register your business for free. Business owners, now is the time to step up and take a stand. Start connecting with those that share your values. Register your business for free inside Freedom Square's business network. It's a simple process. Just download the Freedom Square app or log on to FreedomSquare.com. Create your free account, then register your business for free, and you're in. Registering your business is building the foundation of Freedom Square's business network. Freedom Square's goal is to unite, connect, and empower pro-freedom, pro-capitalism, pro-American businesses and their owners. Now is the time to take a stand and let your voice be heard. Tell your family, your friends, and neighbors. Tell them about Freedom Square. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? Take a stand and join us today. Freedom-loving Americans, it's all here at FreedomSquare.com. FreedomSquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Do you want your child to come back from school hating God, America, and you? If the answer is no, the solution is St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard. Hi, I'm the man, Cal. Look, I'm a Christian guy with 2 daughters out in this world, and it can get very scary. St. John's Lutheran School Lombard is the only school in all of Illinois that offers the Hillsdale College curriculum for kindergarten through 8th grade. It's a game changer, a nurturing environment with a Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking that teaches kids to think for themselves, not what to think. What a great thing to do for your child or grandchild. Strong academics with the Hillsdale curriculum and strong character. Go to stjohnslombard.com. That's Saint, S-T, johnslombard.com. stjohnslombard.com. It's in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, Downers Grove, and all places nearby. stjohnslombard.com.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at Servpro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from Servpro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why Servpro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Race and sex discrimination alleged at Mundelein High School, 606.
Today we're going to have sunny skies, a nice end to August, a high of 77 degrees. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Italia is still causing trouble. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Now a tropical storm. It's causing flash flooding on the North Carolina coast after also leaving areas underwater from South Carolina to Georgia, where a man was killed by a falling tree. To Florida, where Idalia hit this time yesterday morning.
The top of the roof just caved, slapped in on me and my 3 kids and my grandson.
She's in Perry, Florida, just inland from the coast. Idalia's eye went right over it.
The traffic signals, they're blinking, but most of this town appears to be in complete darkness. The county, actually, 99% of the power is out here.
Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell standing in front of a damaged store.
Looks like a tornado hit it, but this was from Hurricane Idalia.
There are still over 300,000 power outages from there to the Carolinas. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis tells Fox.
We have an overwhelming number of personnel that are on the ground working to restore everybody across the board.
A fiery disaster in South Africa has left at least 73 people dead. Some are kids, dozens more injured. Some got hurt jumping out of windows.
A late-night fire ripping through a rundown 5-story building in Johannesburg that had been taken over by squatters and the homeless. Firefighters struggling through a maze of shacks and other makeshift structures constructed inside.
Fox's Jack Callahan. For the second time in a month, Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell froze up again at another news conference, this one in Kentucky. After McConnell was asked a question, he stood there stoic, standing, looking straight ahead, saying nothing until an aide stepped in.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? Yes. All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
McConnell then did answer a few more questions. The spokesperson later said the 81-year-old was lightheaded, feels fine, and will consult with a doctor. Back in March, McConnell fell at a hotel, suffered a concussion, and needed weeks to recover. America's listening to Fox News.
Think identity theft will...
55 degrees. It is 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Police Department this morning remembering former CPD Superintendent Matt Rodriguez. Rodriguez died yesterday at the age of 87 after making history in Chicago as the first Latino to lead CPD starting in 1992. A 5-year-old Chicago boy is dead following an apparent accidental shooting in Gary, Indiana. Police tell us the child picked up a gun at a relative's home on Fillmore Street early yesterday and shot himself. The gun was apparently brought to the home by a man who placed it down after falling asleep. Southside residents voicing their opinions during a meeting Wednesday night centered around a plan to reopen a vacant Kenwood hotel as a migrant shelter.
Can we please make space for everyone else to talk? There are a lot of opinions in the room, and yelling and devolving into chaos isn't going to get us anything.
According to city leadership, the Lakeshore Hotel will serve as a illegal migrant shelter housing up to 300. Could begin as early as Friday, September 1st. Jesus Del Toro is with the mayor's office.
We want to be able to inform the community of these changes, also knowing that at times the ability to share news has been delayed. I think the nature of this emergency demands that folks act.
According to city officials, the hotel was previously used as a shelter for illegal immigrants from January through April. Prosecutors have dropped all felony charges against an Iowa man arrested in 2021, you may recall, by Chicago police for having guns and ammunition in his hotel room overlooking a popular tourist attraction. Sun-Times reporting Cook County prosecutors dropped felony charges against Keegan Castile this week after he pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor and was ordered to pay a small fine. Castile said he had packed the guns and ammunition by mistake after traveling to Chicago to propose to his girlfriend on the Ferris wheel at Navy Pier. Cubs beat the Brew Crew 3-2 in their series finale at Wrigley. Cubs now 3 back of Milwaukee for first in the NL Central. White Sox smashed the Orioles at Camden Yards 10-5. Bears aren't done finalizing their 53-man roster just yet, making 3 waiver claims yesterday and grabbing defensive end Khalid Kareem. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock all day, every day. Listen now, danandamy247.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
FreedomSquare.com's business network is open for business, and you can register your business for free. Business owners, now is the time to step up and take a stand. Start connecting with those that share your values. Register your business for free inside Freedom Square's business network. It's a simple process. Just download the Freedom Square app or log on to FreedomSquare.com. Create your free account, then register your business for free, and you're in. Registering your business is building the foundation of Freedom Square's business network. Freedom Square's goal is to unite, connect, and empower pro-freedom, pro-capitalism, pro-American businesses and their owners. Now is the time to take a stand and let your voice be heard. Tell your family, your friends, and neighbors. Tell them about Freedom Square. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? Take a stand and join us today. Freedom-loving Americans, it's all here at FreedomSquare.com. FreedomSquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful at lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question, and the owners of Relief Factor tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. That's right, designed to heal, and I agree with them. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, yes, 100% drug-free ingredients, each helping your body deal with inflammation. Each of the 4 ingredients deals with inflammation from a different metabolic pathway. That's right there, approaching from 4 different angles, may be why so many people find such wonderful relief. So if you have back pain, shoulder, neck, hip, knee, or foot pain from exercise or just getting older, you should order the 3-week quick start, discounted to only $19.95, to see if it will work for you. It has for about 70% of the 500,000 people who've tried it, and they've ordered more. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF, the number 4RELIEF, to find out about this offer. Feel the difference.
6:08, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Kennedy, 32 minutes and climbing right now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Flashing brake lights, Foster to Montrose this early morning. Ike 45, 390 to the old post office. Reagan right now with slowdowns eastbound between York and the Tri-State. The Jane Addams, I-90 eastbound, jamming up between the Tri-State and the River Road toll because of an earlier accident. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Sunny skies, a very nice day. High today at 77. It'll be clear tonight, low 59. A sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 84. Sunshine, it'll be hot on Saturday, the high 91. And then sunny and hot Sunday, the high 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Warming up just a touch, 57 O'Hare, 45 in Aurora. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Race and sex discrimination at Mundelein High School. What? In Enlightened Lake County? No. That can't be. A county that would elevate one to its county state's attorney? Mr. Safety Act? No cash bail? Kim Fox toady? Honky version of Kim Fox, if you will. Yeah, Mundelein High School, I see right here on their masthead, their core values.
What are they?
Equity, growth, and collaboration. Collaboration, that's one of BLM Brandon's core values, or at least that's one of his favorite words. Equity.
Equity, that's my word, yeah.
There it is. That's why you have race and sex discrimination up at Mundelein High School, because they're in the business of equity. And if you're in the business of equity, you're in the business of discrimination by race and sex. You know this, right? Mundelein High School doesn't. Do you know that Mundelein High School doesn't know it? Love to hear from Lake County. A lot of smart people up that way. Successful people up that way.
Yeah, 312-642-5600. Give us a call or text us at 64636. Type in DA, then a comment.
I wonder if there are any civil rights lawyers up Mundelein way. I bet there are.
Can't wait to hear the story.
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. They're in the business of race and sex discrimination because they're in the business of equity. It's linear. You see, they've got these identities-based social support groups. It's profiled right here in their newsletter. Identity-based social support groups. We're forming identity-based social support groups for multiple identity groups that make up our student population. We're looking for 2 staff members to help facilitate the African-American male group and the Latino male group. It's important that the staff member leading these groups identify with the group identity. So Rachel Dolezal is in, or no?
Or out. Gender matter.
Who's the other guy, the Black Lives Matter guy that pretends to be black?
King.
Sean King.
Yeah, Sean King.
Yeah, he's
not
in.
black.
No, he identifies. It's important the group identify with the group identity, not be it.
Yeah, he's not black.
If you do not identify with these groups but are interested, please let the Wellness Center know. The Wellness Center. The other groups that will be running are Latina female, African American female. There you go, Rachel Dolezal. LGBTQIA+. Where's the 2S? AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander, and the Jewish community. What, no honky support group? These groups will meet twice a month during the school day. One meeting will be facilitated by you, the adult, and one meeting will be led by a student leader and support personnel. Boy, it's a big operation for a bunch of people that share the same skin tone to get together. Big operation. Wow. This volunteer position will require volunteers to give up 1 or 2 periods a month. A lot to talk about. Please reach out to the Wellness Center if you're interested. Core values: equity, growth, inclusion. Well, that seems all innocent enough and probably prosaic in these times, but it doesn't mean that it's not violative of civil rights law, because it is. Did you know that? Probably not.
Do they know that?
Mundelein High School parents, are you paying attention? I don't know. It's not a Mundelein High School parent that is filed a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. It's our friend Mark Perry, econ professor emeritus from University of Michigan. Why does it take a University of Michigan economics professor to come in and tell Mundelein High School parents what's happening at their high school? Or am I being too tough on the parents? He sent a letter to the superintendent and the school board. Do the school board know what's going on? Or are they just captured by the superintendent and staff, like in most of these wonderful, really good schools in the suburbs? That's a good school. No, it's not. Okay. And he also he sent them a copy, courtesy copy, to the complaint he filed with the Chicago Office for Civil Rights. In it, among other things, he said, based on my experience filing more federal Title VI and Title IX civil rights complaints, 860, than any individual in history that have resulted in 400 federal investigations and more than not resolutions in my favor, I can say with some authority that the Office of Civil Rights generally finds that racially segregated affinity groups, identity-based social support groups, and BIPOC-only staff events are largely indefensible violations of Title VI and Title IX. To quote U.S. Civil Rights Commissioner Peter Kirsanow, there are no unless you have good intentions exceptions to Title VI and Title IX. Race-based and sex-based discrimination is still unlawful even if it advantages the right races or sex, gender identity, or sexual orientations for the quote-unquote right reasons. Yeah. Didn't know that. Well, Mark Perry is like a one-man wrecking crew putting schools on notice and taking them down. We had his help, you'll remember, several weeks back, a couple months back, when we found that Evanston Township High School had segregated AP calculus classes. Segregated classes.
Are you kidding me?
AP calculus classes. And Mark Perry got involved. We brought this to light. It got national attention. Mark Perry got involved, filed this complaint with the Office of Civil Rights, filed a similar complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. And then, very quietly, this is my Biden soda voce, very quietly, Evanston Township High School changed the course descriptions for their AP calculus classes to be less offensive, although not so much that I don't think you could have still pursued a civil rights complaint, but nonetheless, they made the change. No, we're not doing that, and we made a language change that we're not going to acknowledge because, of course, there was no problem there, and we made that language change for no reason. That's what you're supposed to believe. And I'm sure most Evanston Township High School parents and school board members convinced themselves that was the case. And I'm sure when, more likely than not, even under this regime, the Office of Civil Rights finds cause to investigate based on the precedents that office has set on Title VI and Title IX cases. The Mundelein School Board staff and parents will convince themselves there's no problem there either. Now, again, you can disagree with certain provisions of the civil rights statutes, but that's the law. Title IX was conceived to mainly benefit women. We've seen this at Title IX cases where men's sports are discontinued in order for there to be quote unquote equitable funding for the provision of women's sports at the collegiate level, so on and so forth. So, but if you read what Title IX, Title VI, and Title IX say, it doesn't say it's about eliminating men's sports to fund women's sports. It's about no sex discrimination and no racial discrimination, and these are sort of prima facie cases. This is prima facie evidence of such discrimination. These groups that are segregated by race and sex at the high school level and the collegiate level, but we're talking about high schools here. And I'm sure that people listening to this whose kids go to other suburban government schools have the same clubs. And I guess I can only hope that maybe if I may help Mark Perry get some interns, we can help him put together more of these complaints with the Office of Civil Rights to do for these high schools what the parents and school boards don't seem to want to do for them for some reason, which baffles me. Just get through, Just get them through. Only got 2 years left. Only got 3 years left. Only got a year left. We just want to get through and then put this school in our rearview mirror. All right. The community is disintegrating under your feet, too, so you better put Illinois and Chicagoland behind in the rearview mirror when you put that school in the rearview mirror, too. Mundelein High School. Great school. No, it's not. Your suburban government school. Great school. No, it's not. By the way, on the flip side, I just wanted to note the school victory. We noted a school victory yesterday with young 12-year-old Jaden and his Gadsden patch that's now become this huge national story. Jaden is allowed to wear his Gadsden patch on his backpack now at the Vanguard School in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And it was interesting. He gave an interview in the wake of all this controversy and attention. Where does his political views come from? Where does his understanding of he's 12 years old, the understanding of the Gadsden flag, its meaning in the context of the Revolutionary War? If you saw him in that video during the parent-teacher confab over the patch, when the teacher said that the Gadsden flag had some connection to slavery, he sort of smiled and shook his head, and she's like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. The 12-year-old.
Yeah. He schooled his teacher.
And so where does this all, what's the genesis of your views and sort of precocious understanding of these matters?
Let me ask, where did your politics come from? Because you're obviously very knowledgeable. You know a lot of things about American history. How did you get so political?
I give it mainly to Connor Boyack with his Tuttle twins. I read those growing up, and that really, really helped me. And now I have a good understanding of America, and it talks about inflation and all sorts of key concepts that someone should know. So I give it to my mom and Connor Boyack for my knowledge of knowing more than an average teacher.
Nice job, Mom, and Connor Boyack and his Tuttle Twin series. I mentioned this yesterday. And but I'll tell you what, maybe we could do a crowdfunding and get all of the teachers and school board members at government schools in Chicagoland a
Tuttle Twins combo pack.
Yeah, exactly. Get them
$68.88 right now.
Get them
on Amazon.
Get them a Tuttle Twins book so they start to get sort of a baseline understanding of America that Jaden, 12-year-old Jaden in Colorado Springs has. What do you think?
I love it. That is a good mom. He's got to want to learn too, and he clearly is in that category where he wants to learn.
There are parents standing up. I mean, not here so much. I mean, there's some, but I mean, they're a minority. They sort of get drowned out. They get frustrated. They run for school board. They lose, and things just continue on.
Or then they move.
Or move. But there are other parents that are finding success, so you can do it. Center for American Liberty proud to announce settlement in the Conan v. Spreckles Union School District case. $100,000 payment by the school district to Jessica Conan and her daughter, Alicia. Conan filed a lawsuit to defend her parental right to raise Alicia, demanded justice from a school that socially transitioned her daughter to a new gender identity without notifying her. So she sued, and by the way, for people who think, oh, well, you can't challenge, I don't have the money to take these people to court, and I don't have. Well, there are all sorts of organizations like the Center for American Liberty that are representing families against school districts pro bono. Well, I don't want to upset the apple cart. I don't want my daughter or son to get any blowback at school and this and that. I don't want to be an outcast within the school community. Well, I mean, those are decisions you have to make. I guess you have to decide what's worth it to you. Or what's more important to you? Is it more important to you to have the approval of these pseudo-intellectual Jacobins that go along with the degradation of education and, in some cases, the violation of the parent-child bond? Is that more important, or is it more important to protect and advance the interests of your kid. I didn't think that was a tough choice, but it seems like it is.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I tell you, I get no respect. So I walk into a coin shop with silver bullion for sale when the owner says, "You look like you don't have two coins to rub together." I say to him, "Bullion." He orders me to quit cussing, tosses me out the door, and I land cheeks down on my 10-pound bullion bars. Ouch! My rear end is still black and blue.
You should have come to Fox Valley Coins, where we treat every customer with respect, buying or selling. Whether you're liquidating a collection to pay the rent or trading unwanted collectible coins, currency, and bullion for extra folding money, Fox Valley Coins is happy to see you. We also pay top dollar for scrap gold and sterling at Fox Valley Coins, the Midwest's premier coin company. Open 6 days a week, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Check us out at foxvalleycoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity. That's foxvalleycoins.com.
I'd get my butt down there, but the doctor warned me to take it easy for a week. Oh.
Did you know that St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard is the only school in the entire state of Illinois offering the renowned Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum? I bet they don't have illegal affinity groups at St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard either. If you're a parent in Lombard, Glenelg, and Wheaton, Downers Grove, or the surrounding areas, and you're searching for an exceptional educational experience for your child, look no further than St. John's Lutheran K-8 School, where academic excellence meets strong Christian values. St. John's partnership with Hillsdale College ensures your child receives a rigorous K-8 academic experience. Grow up to be like Jaden. What sets St. John's apart? They recognize the concerns many parents have about the radical woke agenda infiltrating government schools. That's why they're dedicated to providing a nurturing environment that promotes the Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking. The Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum, combined with their focus on Christian faith and character development, is a game changer for your child's education. Learn more at stjohnslombard.com. That's stjohnslombard.com. Give your child or grandchild the gift of a faith-based Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum-based education. Again, stjohnslombard.com, stjohnslombard.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a professional tree climber. That's what I do for a living. I'm just hopped up with this energy. Loved it. I want to keep those Balance of Nature. Matter of fact, I've told a bunch of people about them. I know that 2 or 3 of my friends have jumped on the bandwagon because I told them, I said, I just felt energized, all the time. It took a couple weeks for me to really notice, but I just had so much more energy. My doctor told me to keep taking them because he recommends it to his patients, and he takes them.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com. plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Confessions of a Russiagate survivor, Sam Patton, at 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Simon.
Dan and Amy, 6:31. Hurricane Idalia made landfall in Florida yesterday as a Category 3 hurricane, bringing catastrophic damage to a few areas in the state. Fox's Grady Trimble is in Keaton Beach, Florida, with the very latest on the damage there.
The people who live in this neighborhood are only beginning to see the full extent of the damage here, which is where this hurricane made landfall. The big concern here was water damage from the storm surge, but actually what we're seeing is wind damage. It was so powerful that it ripped the roof off of some of the houses in this neighborhood. We also spent most of the day yesterday in a town about 20 miles south of here called Steinhatchee, and that is where we saw a lot of the flooding damage.
At least 3 are dead in the wake of the storm. 2 men, 4 children hospitalized after an overnight shooting in Peoria. Police say the shooting happened around 9 last night in a residential neighborhood in South Peoria, where authorities found 5 with gunshot wounds and 1 with lacerations. 2 of the victims, including 1 juvenile, are currently listed in critical condition. At least 73 are dead, more than a half dozen of those children, after fire swept through a tenement building in South Africa. Emergency services also say 52 were injured in the Johannesburg fire. A North Carolina district attorney will not pursue the death penalty for the man accused in Monday's deadly shooting at the University of North Carolina. 34-year-old Tylee Chi is being held without bond after being formally charged with murder during his first court appearance. Charges are pending against a man accused of attacking 2 Chicago firefighters on the far south side. Firefighters were called out yesterday to a home in the 7700 block of South Marshfield on report of a garage fire. Police say the man lured 2 firefighters into his Southside home where the floor was covered with gasoline. Other firefighters then had to smash a window to reach the battalion chief and a lieutenant. Knives and a loaded gun were recovered. The suspect was taken to Little Company of Mary Hospital. No charges have been announced. Some Southwest Airlines pilots are planning to stage informational pickets today at several major airports to express frustration with contract negotiations that have dragged on for 3.5 years. The pickets are going up at Baltimore Washington International, LAX, Hartsfield Jackson in Atlanta, and Midway Airport here in Chicago. Cubs over the Brew Crew 3-2 in their finale from Wrigley Field. So the Cubs just 3 back of the Brew Crew now in the NL Central. White Sox smashed the Orioles at Camden Yards 10-5. And the University of Nebraska women's volleyball team broke a world record last night playing a home game in front of 92,003 fans, witnessing the 5-time national champs take down Nebraska Omaha inside Memorial Stadium on Wednesday night. The news service of the Pride stores with 17 locations throughout Chicagoland that include Taco Urbano or Urban Counter restaurants. Stop by their newest location, the Pride of Kane County in St. Charles, on the corner of Kirk and Main. The Pride stores, not your typical convenience store. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Did you know we celebrate baby boomers in August? It's true. August 17th to be exact. That's the same time this generation was at Woodstock in 1969, meaning a lot of babies were born in 1970 early on. Did you know that millions of baby boomers are at risk for stroke, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses caused by high blood pressure? I have a suggestion for all my baby boomer listeners out there. 120 Life. It's a natural juice drink that helps control blood pressure. With natural ingredients like cherry, cranberry, and pomegranate juice, 120 Life helps lower blood pressure and will help you stay hydrated. You'll feel good drinking it just like I do. I love this stuff. So go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Order a 2-week trial pack. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout. You save the 15% plus free shipping. If after 2 weeks you don't see a difference in the numbers, contact 120 Life and they give you your money back. It's guaranteed. It's simple. Better numbers, better life. Try 120 Life today. 120life.com. I love this stuff. Order it now. 120life.com. 120life.com. Use coupon code LIBERTY.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investYRefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YRefi24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investYRefi.com or call 888-YRefi24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
Are your wiper blades chattering, skipping, or squeaking? Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts and they'll install them for free. Stop by today or learn more at O'ReillyAuto.com.
It is 6:37. Let's get an update on the roads. And as always, we jump into the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. It is a service of Irish Spring. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset you need to own the day. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at your local retailer today. Eden's 20 minutes in from Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy right now accelerating toward an hour. It's 55 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike is already an hour. 390 into the old post office. Your jammed up Wolf all the way to Laramie. On the inbound side of the Stevenson, 52 minutes. 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Dan Ryan, 21 minutes. 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Stop and go traffic due to an accident. Left lane blocked. Northbound on 294 between LaGrange Road all the way to 75th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Sunny, nice end to the month of August, high 77. Clear and 59 overnight. Sunny and 84 tomorrow. 57 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. After then Vice President Joe Biden attended one dinner in April 2015 with Hunter Biden and his foreign business associates from Ukraine and Kazakhstan, business between those two countries appeared to flourish for Biden Incorporated. The dinners represent some of the most compelling pieces of evidence that suggest Biden was more deeply involved in his son's business than publicly admitted. Yeah, no kidding. Hunter Biden received payments from a Russian and Kazakh oligarch, respectively, in the weeks surrounding the spring 2014 dinner, which oligarchs from both countries attended.
For what services were delivered.
Ahead of the first dinner in the spring of 2014, Hunter and his business partners were discussing the prospect of convening wealthy oligarchs from around the world for gatherings in order to form a lucrative, quote-unquote, global cooperation group. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, I mean,
it sounds so much fun.
It evokes the image of the scene from the Naked Gun movie where, like, all the heads of the America's enemies are around a table, and Leslie Nielsen, breaks up the meeting in comical ways. It's almost getting to Naked Gun parody at this point with Biden Incorporated. Someone who knows something about this whole area of representing foreign nationals and influence peddling around the globe is Sam Patton. He's an American political consultant and lobbyist who received international attention in relation to the Mueller investigation. And he received international attention and a prison sentence, charged with violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act, something for which Hunter Biden is apparently exempt. He's got a new book, Dangerous Company, The Misadventures of a Foreign Agent, and a good piece that sort of summarizes his experience over at thespectator.com, Confessions of a Russiagate Survivor. He said something in an interview, too. I want to start here. In 2017, he gave an interview reflecting on his time working overseas as a political consultant, quoting him, "I've worked in Ukraine, Iraq. I've worked in deeply corrupt countries, and our system in the U.S. isn't very different." That's a little chilling. Wow. Sam Patton, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning from the great state of Maine, first place in America the sun hits every day. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Yes, the land of the black bears. All right, so I guess before we get to your commentary on that quote reflects, just give us the backstory on you being enveloped in the Russiagate investigation, and essentially agreeing to a plea bargain with the Mueller Special Prosecutor's Office in connection with that.
Sure thing. My bad luck was sharing a client in Ukraine with Paul Manafort. Paul and I worked on the same side on a political campaign in Ukraine. And when the government went after Manafort, they went after me as well as a way of getting to him, trying to get him to turn on Trump. The problem, of course, was there was no underlying crime.
Well, so what was the nature of your work in Ukraine, the client that you shared with Manafort? Because, I mean, he's been described as, working for essentially Putin toadies in Ukraine, and this is the Russian collusion connection that they're alleging that where they use the Manaforts of the world, and I guess to some extent you, to suggest Trump was Putin's Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, the American media has done a really poor job looking at this, and every time they say the pro-Russian political party, that's a huge oversimplification. Ukraine, as we see today, is a country in crisis. It's a country that's being invaded, and there are a lot of different people who live there, some of whom speak Russian, and they should have a voice in their country's government. I would point out that during the period Paul and I were working in Ukraine, there was no war. It's the oversimplifications by the American media, the polarization of the situation there by our people is part of the problem.
But you were working with Russians in the Donbass region. What were you doing?
Well, they weren't Russians. These are Ukrainians. These are Ukrainian citizens who love Ukraine and want Ukraine to continue being a country. They just happen to speak Russian. And after the Maidan Revolution in 2014, they were made to feel less than human within their own country. So the goal was simply to have everybody have an equal voice in their country and to have it be a functioning democracy like we say we want to have here in our own country.
Now, when you were in Ukraine and doing business, was Hunter Biden working for Burisma?
Apparently he was in parallel. I didn't run in those circles. I went to Ukraine because Ukrainian politicians wanted my expertise. I was there because they demanded my service. I wasn't there because of who my father was. So I didn't run into Hunter, but my understanding is he was there. In fact, on my birthday in 2015, he had a meeting on the 7th floor of the State Department with then Deputy Secretary Tony Blinken. What do you think they were talking about? Fantasy football?
Perhaps. I'm sure it was certainly innocent. We know that.
He had just started to represent Burisma at that time. So maybe he did stop by the State Department to talk about fantasy football. I don't know. As a taxpayer, I'd like to know.
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
And so the insinuation in you getting enveloped in the Mueller investigation is that this is all part of the Russian collusion, but you weren't charged with crimes related to that. You were charged with essentially a registration, or you pled out to a registration charge failing to register as a foreign agent.
Correct. The only Russians who Mueller charged, he subsequently dropped the charges against them because he couldn't hold up the charges in court. Which is interesting, but yes, it was a process charge in my case. I failed to register under the 1938 Foreign Agent Registration Act. I didn't fill out a form. In my case, I was working as an advisor to Ukrainians in Ukraine. I did happen to help them draft a couple op-eds that ran in the United States, and that's where I crossed the line.
Because the op-eds did not comport with U.S. policy, or why?
Well, the FARA, as we know, FARA is not evenly applied. I am the 9th American to ever be convicted, which shows you, since the act has been has been there since 1938, they aren't aggressively pursuing it unless it's against Republicans.
And so they use that to say, well, you're obviously representing because you're placing these op-eds in American outlets, you're representing foreign agents under the strictures of the Foreign Agent Registration Act.
Correct. Technically, I did violate the law, which is why I pled guilty.
Mm-hmm. And what was the interaction like with Mueller and his team? What were they trying to get you to do, and perhaps maybe give you a pass on that paperwork violation?
Well, I've got I do have a plea agreement. I can't talk about what I told them or what they told me.
Okay.
The only place I ever saw Bob Mueller was in church. We were co-parishioners at St. John's in Washington. I dealt with Andrew Weissman. I didn't get the sense that Mueller was a day-to-day presence in the operation.
And can you characterize, without saying what he said or you said to him, can you characterize your interactions with Weissman? Because he was the point guy for Mueller.
Yeah, he wasn't as bad as I thought he would be. I went in there assuming he'd be the pit bull that everybody said he was. I think that he knew that, I was not a super guilty person. I think at some level he knew they were overreaching, and they were already running out of gas by the time they got me.
But they needed scalps, right?
They needed scalps. They needed scalps to prove it wasn't a completely wasted fishing operation.
Wow. So what are you doing now? Besides living in Maine,
I work as a line cook. I work as a driver, and I also do Airbnb in my home here in Maine. In addition to writing, I write a column for the Maine Wire, which is the only conservative outlet in the state of Maine.
Interesting. So is that you're out of politics, foreign and domestic, by choice, or?
I am for now. At this moment, I do think that our country is changing, hopefully for the better, and I would love to get involved at some point in the future. But for now, I'm taking a little bit of a breather.
What advice would you give to President Trump, or now candidate Trump?
My advice to candidate Trump would be to focus on the concerns of the American people. Having lived outside of Washington, D.C. for 3 years now, it's been a blessing to understand how real Americans think. And President Trump needs to focus not just on his own legal problems and the problems of Donald John Trump, but the problems of Joe Sixpack and the ordinary American. And if he can do that, he'll probably be successful.
That statement I excerpted from an interview you gave 6 years ago. I've worked in Ukraine and Iraq. I've worked in deeply corrupt countries, and our system in the U.S. isn't very different. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. I mean, I worked with Cambridge Analytica when they were first getting involved in the United States, and they went on to work for Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. I love the idea that a British company was competing in our space, having worked as an American in all these foreign countries, because competition makes us better. And the problem in 2016, and the reason Donald Trump won so handily in the Republican primary, is because our political consulting system is broken. It's crooked. You have the same companies feeding from the same trough every cycle. And that doesn't lead to new ideas. That doesn't lead to the competitive spirit that made America great. So the idea that, there was a chance to break up this broken system, to me was very appealing. But yes, I mean, we have corruption in our country. I mean, we're seeing it certainly in the case of Hunter Biden, which is not isolated. That's how Washington works every day. So I think, Americans are ready to take a hard look at, how the elites behave and what we need to do to reform this country.
Looking at it from afar, just on the political consultancy piece, because I've been one on and off myself. Do you attribute the political consultants of always that you're talking about as the proximate reason why Ron DeSantis' campaign seems to be flailing?
Could be. I haven't looked in microscopic detail at who the latest round of consultants and advisors are for DeSantis, but my general observation on the Republican side is we've got a lot of risk-averse guys who want to do the least risky thing, and that's not what the people want. The people want something a little bolder than what the consultants have been offering.
Yeah, I think I agree with that 100%. Your book, Dangerous Company, The Misadventures of a Foreign Agent, I haven't had the chance to read it. I've just read reviews of it, but it seems like this may be sort of the Graham Greene, Quiet American, although this is a true story. Is that your intent, to give sort of an American, the American overseas perspective on America?
That's the nicest compliment I heard all day. Thank you, Dan.
Well, that is a compliment, because that's one of the great books. But yes,
this is an adventure. This is an adventure. It starts out in Kazakhstan and it takes you around the world, and it winds up in Washington, in the swamp, which is my undoing. But we go to Iraq. We go to Russia in the early days of Putin. We go through Eastern Europe. And yeah, you're right. We do look at America from that perspective. And it's important to look at ourselves the way other people look at us, because it gives us a little bit of objectivity sometimes. I mean, we had that Frenchman de Tocqueville come to America when we were a young country, and he made a lot of useful observations.
Yeah, he sure did, didn't he?
Yeah. So, there's a lot to learn, and that's been my approach to working in all these different countries. I've chosen to work as a foreign political consultant just for the adventure, but wherever I am, I learn something about how they operate. And I never thought I'd see the day where Americans would be complaining about foreigners influencing us, but that happened, 2016, 2017 forward. I want to get back to America influencing the rest of the world.
He is Sam Patton, American political consultant lobbyist who received international attention with respect to the Mueller investigation, as we were discussing. His new book, Dangerous Company, The Misadventures of a Foreign Agent, which is available October 3rd in all the usual places, I'm certain. Pre-order it now. Dangerous Company, The Misadventures of a Foreign Agent. Sam Patton, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan and Amy. Take care.
Thank you. Enjoy being a line cook and running that Airbnb as well. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer. Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle Financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
All right.
I think I'm going to... Sam Patton is a line cook.
You could be a line cook.
No, I can't. I don't cook.
No, but that's more...
No, but so he line cook I can do the Airbnb thing, and I'm going to go back to caddying.
Oh, that's right.
I may leave right now, actually.
Oh, don't go. All right. Don't leave your house if there's water in the basement. We know that. Then that musty, damp odor hits you when you walk in your door because the air from your basement or crawl space will permeate up into your living room, don't you know? And did you know that the air in your home can be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside? Well, our good friends at Perma-Seal can help. They have a Perma-Dry air filtration and dehumidification system. It dehumidifies and filtrates all in one unit, controls humidity, cleans the air, prevents the increase of mold spores, and removes them. It removes airborne dust particles as well as allergens and bacteria. Perma-Dry does not cost a lot of money to run either. You can save up to $189 per year in electricity costs over store-bought portables. In the warmer months, dehumidifiers seriously help your AC run more efficiently and saves you money. You know who to call, Perma-Seal. Call today to schedule a free estimate, 800-421-SEAL, or visit permaseal.net.
Ask any old football player or fan, and they'll tell you offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Sean Thompson here, and you know who else knows that. It's Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. He knows winning doesn't just happen. It's a result of having a good coach who draws up the right strategy and then makes adjustments along the way. So think of Tom as your retirement defensive coordinator, protecting your retirement savings against inflation, market loss, or a pick six from Uncle Sam. With Tom's complimentary retirement roadmap, you'll find out what's working in your game plan or what's not. If you're serious about winning in retirement, call 630-934-1855. Ask for the retirement roadmap. That's 630-934-1855. Or find Tom online at alphawealthgroup.com and listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a professional tree climber. That's what I do for a living. And I'm just hopped up with just energy. Loved it. I want to keep those balance of nature. Matter of fact, I've told a bunch of people about them. I know that 2 or 3 of my friends have jumped on the bandwagon because I told them, I said, I just felt energized, all the time. It took a couple weeks for me to really notice, but I just had so much more energy. My doctor told me to keep taking them because he recommends it to his patients, and he takes them.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Trying to convince you to take Balance of Nature.
Yeah.
I'll sponsor you. Just try it for a week. I'm telling you, it will help your golf game.
Coming up at 7:07 on a very special Dan Proft is Single, a political edition of Dan Proft is Single, because we have a Republican presidential candidate who's single, too.
I know.
7:07.
CNN's all over it. Oh, my gosh. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is the one and only Mike Scott.
Tensions are high over a plan to use a Kenwood hotel as a migrant shelter. WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
Italia is moving out to sea. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's a tropical storm now, flooding parts of the Carolinas after inundating Florida's Gulf Coast with storm surge.
Motel we have here in my house, 4 feet underwater. So you go inside my house and it looks like, the couch is where the refrigerator was and the refrigerator is where the couch was.
He's in Cedar Key. Idalia first hit land as a powerful hurricane a bit north of there in Keaton Beach.
The good news in this neighborhood is that everyone we've talked to here said they heeded the warnings and got out. But the damage to their homes is immense.
Fox Business's Grady Trimble standing in front of an obliterated home.
And today, Governor DeSantis, as well as the FEMA administrator, will tour the damage here. They say some of the homes and businesses here will not be able to be used for weeks, if not months.
Almost everyone's out of power in the Keaton Beach area. There are 300,000 outages, Florida to the Carolinas. 2 car crash deaths reported in Florida. A man was killed by a falling tree in Georgia. At least 73 people are dead in South Africa after a fire engulfed a 5-story building where homeless people and squatters had been living.
The Johannesburg Public Safety Commissar telling reporters,
I'm sort of traumatized. It's a bad scene. There are bent bodies beyond their recognition.
More than 50 people were hurt, some from hurling themselves out the windows of the building to escape the flames.
Fox's Jack Callahan. Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell will consult a doctor after he froze up again, speaking to reporters for the second time in a month, standing, staring straight ahead, saying nothing after being asked a question until an aide stepped in. A McConnell spokesperson says the 81-year-old felt lightheaded but feels fine. President Biden, who is 80 and has faced questions about his age too, reacted.
Mitch is a friend, as you know, not a joke. We always, I know people don't believe that's the case, but we have disagreements politically, but he's a good friend.
America's listening to Fox News.
57 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Police remembering former CPD Superintendent Matt Rodriguez this morning. Rodriguez died yesterday at the age of 87. He made history in 1992 as the first Latino to lead CPD. 2 men and 4 children are hospitalized after gunfire broke out in a residential neighborhood in Peoria overnight. Police say the shooting began around 9 last night in South Peoria. 5 victims were found with gunshot wounds, 1 with severe lacerations. 2 victims are in critical condition. An extra alarm fire broke out this morning on the south side. Chicago Fire tells us the blaze broke out in the 700 block of East 93rd. The fire was in a 2.5-story home, and another home next door was exposed to the flames. Fire was doused around 6:30. 1 person is in custody, another at large after allegedly committing an armed robbery in a western suburb on Wednesday afternoon. Lombard police tell us, along with several agencies, they were pursuing individuals wanted in connection with that armed robbery when the suspect traveling eastbound on St. Charles crashed near Westmore Myers Road. Police helicopter, canine units, and a drone were deployed in search of a suspect who fled the scene. Southside residents voiced their opinions and opposition during a meeting Wednesday night centered on a plan to reopen a Kenwood neighborhood hotel as an illegal migrant shelter.
Can we please make space for everyone else to talk? There are a lot of opinions in the room, and yelling and devolving into chaos isn't going to get us anything.
5th Ward Alderman Desmond Yancey led the emergency community meeting lasting 2 hours and became quite heated. According to city officials, the hotel had been previously used as a shelter from January through April. Cubs over the Brewers 3-2 in their series finale at Wrigley. So the Cubs now 3 back behind Milwaukee for first in the NL Central. White Sox 10-5 winners over the Orioles at Camden Yards, while the Fire were blanked 1-0 by Vancouver. The news, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device. Text the word app to 64636. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum is confident about Trump.
4 indictment Trump championship, which is pretty much making fun of these fake indictments. Trump is going to win the championship on those. The gut feeling that I have based on the totality of circumstances is that Trump probably didn't do none of this stuff. It's all a witch hunt. They thought it would hurt his chances, and it just made him bigger and powerful. Then he's turned into the Incredible Hulk now.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password, for you to become a victim. LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
Consumer Cellular's award-winning customer support is 100% based in the U.S., and you are 100% based in the U.S. That's something you have in common with Consumer Cellular's customer service. Consumer Cellular's customer service likes pizza, and you like pizza. You want a free month of service, and we want to give you one. We obviously can't wait to hear from you. Visit consumercellular.com/free month and enter code FREEMONTH to get your second month free. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Promotion is subject to terms and conditions.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's Medishare. Maybe you've heard switching to Medishare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for Medishare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medishare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLE.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And we'll start on the Edens Expressway, 28 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy at 53 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound to the big airport right now, 39 from downtown. The Ike stop-and-go problems inbound at St. Charles Road with a left lane blocked with an accident. Right now, 65 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Brake lights all the way in from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. On the inbound Stevenson, 65 minutes on that commute. Bishop Ford and I-57 jamming into the Ryan merge. Tri-State disabled vehicle, left center lane blocked, northbound between St. Charles and the Grand Avenue curve. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunny skies, a very nice day. High today at 77. It'll be clear tonight, low 59. A sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 84. Sunshine, it'll be hot on Saturday, the high 91. And then sunny and hot Sunday, the high 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
57 and sunshine at O'Hare. Next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business powered by Mirabali Insurance. Sunday evenings at 6.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
'Cause one, you like your dream come true.
Two, just wanna be with you. Three, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. Repeat steps 1 through 3. 5, make you fall in love with me. If ever I believe my work is done, then I start back. Hey, good eyes in the dark times. I see the coming of the sun.
Okay, people should know that you have been rehearsing this.
No,
and working with Justin.
Yeah,
which
he's
take
my
should we
vocal
do?
coach. No, I'm a big Brian McKnight fan. I just wanted to mix it up with the intro music to this segment, and I was listening to Brian McKnight the other day, who, if I had to have, if I could pick a voice, I mean, the reason I'm single is because I sing like that. If I could pick a voice, one of the reasons, if I could pick a voice, like any voice in the world, Brian McKnight's.
Really?
That is so silky smooth. I love Brian McKnight's voice.
Can I go home now?
Why? What's wrong with that?
No, really?
What, whose voice am I supposed to pick?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You can't beat Brian McKnight.
The only guy that can maybe beat Brian McKnight is Luther Vandross.
Yeah, Luther Vandross is smooth too, but I like Brian McKnight.
He's so smooth.
I mean, he's the best. Yeah. That's like one of the great R&B voices of all time. No question.
Confirm.
Yeah.
I would
confirmed
pick
by Mike
Celine
Scott,
Dion.
noted R&B expert.
Yeah.
You would pick Celine Dion?
Mm-hmm. Love it. It's angelic. I love her voice.
Yeah.
Anywho.
The My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. On this edition of Why Dan Proft Single, there's a couple things here. One, we have a presidential candidate to discuss, and we'll actually do something we don't normally do in this segment. We'll take calls on this, and then I've got all kinds of data.
Okay, well, let me throw out the number 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can text us to at 64636, type in DA and then a quick comment.
So Tim Scott, I mean, it's funny, like we had this discussion, not on the air because I was a zygote back then and you were well into your career at NBC. Yeah. But remember when Bob Kerrey ran for president, senator from Nebraska?
Oh, that's right.
On the Democrat side, he was single. I was like, oh, can you have a bachelor in the White House? And it was a big issue, sort of. Less of an issue now because there's more singlehood, I think. But Tim Scott, I mean, I like Tim Scott fine, but as I've said before, I mean, his real value add, the real testament to his intellect, his thoughtfulness, is the fact that he's never been married, I think.
Oh, really?
And so my question
is... You think he's a better man because he's single?
He's a great man for many reasons. That's one of them. So my question is, do you hold Tim Scott's singlehood against him? Because, some like family-oriented Christians may look at a single guy in his 50s and say, what's wrong with that guy? Like they do me. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line if you want to weigh in on Tim Scott's singlehood and whether or not that's a political red flag for you.
Well, Axios just did a big article about it. The headline, GOP donors are worried because Tim Scott is single. Come on. They fret over his single
So
status.
it's not a big deal to you?
I mean, Yeah, I guess when I think about it, I like a first lady or first dude.
Yeah, right.
For the
like
fashion
like Kamala
sense.
Harris's
Well, Michelle Obama's
gelding.
gorgeous. I mean, Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama's the first dude?
No.
Oh.
I meant Michelle Obama. I love watching, their fashions change over the years, and I don't know. It would be weird to have not have a first family. Does he have a dog or a cat or anything?
He has an extended family, I'm sure. I'm sure maybe he has a pet. I don't know. It's a good question.
Does he have a girlfriend? Does he have a boyfriend? No, I know he's not.
Tim Scott, no. Tim Scott is not single for the same reason that, I don't know.
Okay,
maybe Lindsey Graham is single.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. Maybe. I think they're single for different reasons. I mean, you can draw your own conclusion.
During the Axios interview, Scott said he does have a girlfriend.
Okay.
But he's keeping her identity private.
Yeah. Okay.
What did he meet her at band camp in Canada?
I use that line too. Your imaginary girlfriend, Tim. Are we ever going to meet your imaginary girlfriend? Okay, Tim.
What's her name?
We've all been there.
George Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sally Smith. Jane in Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hey, I mean, I love politics and I feel like I'm pretty educated and stuff, but I didn't even know Tim Scott wasn't married. So it doesn't make any difference to me,
all right.
Married or not. What he stands for is important, but hey.
There you go. Thanks
Whatever.
for the call, Jane.
He spun being single as a potential plus. He said, quote, I probably have more time, more energy, and more latitude to do the job as president.
And better mental health.
And, well, he added that when he does come home, his girlfriend wants to see him. Oh, yeah, he's in demand. Oh, yeah, come on.
His girlfriend. Okay, Tim. Come on. You don't have to put it on for me. I get it. We've all been there,
well,
Tim.
Remember, Cory Booker went through the same thing when he was running for president in 2020. I remember his girlfriend. Well, who was it? That superstar?
The actress.
That actress. Oh,
she was in 25th Hour.
She's beautiful. Black girl, lady, woman.
I know. I think she's Puerto Rican, isn't she?
Puerto Rico. But she was beautiful, and that, Rosario,
Rosario Dawson. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, remember when they...
You were just not a name assessor enough for me to pick up on it and remember. Nice work.
But remember when they broke up, he said that, they're going their separate ways. Were you really ever together?
Well, that's my point. I mean, it's like, you're right. It's like, right. My girlfriend is Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see each other very much. And now we're not together anymore. It didn't work out. No, I was just, this is why he's smart, though. He's not giving a name.
Right.
You have to check the imaginary aspect of the story.
Senator Booker used that woman, I thought, as a beard. You
know what I mean? Yeah. Right. He used to double date his girlfriend, and Lindsey Graham and his girlfriend used to double date.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm sure Tim Scott has a girlfriend, but
I think it's very smart that he's not telling us her name.
Steve in Oswego.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking the call. Some people are just not meant to be married, and there's really nothing wrong with that. That's the way God meant it to be. But personally, I'm far more concerned with the fact that Donald Trump has been married 3 times than the fact that Tim Scott's never been married.
There you go. All right. Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah.
There have been 3 bachelor presidents: Buchanan, John Tyler Cleveland.
Grover Cleveland.
No, this is what Axios printed. I'm not kidding you. They actually printed that.
Well, you don't just read what Axios printed when it's wrong, because Axios is a bunch of leftist doofuses.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. Well, on it's the Tim Scott thing, and also the divorce thing too, or especially multiple divorces, how that plays in. But anyway, getting to the data here, why people are single.
Okay.
This was a lot to wade through here. Zivi Mauschwitz at his Substack, the dating roundup, why you're still single. He really dug into this. Very interesting. Also, what's happening, generally speaking, in our culture, which is we're winning. Tim Scott and I are winning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Show me what winning looks like, please.
Singles' attitudes towards seeking a relationship. A full 82% excuse me, 72%. 72% of singles are either not actively looking or do not want a relationship. They are going to be dragged kicking and screaming. 72% of people who are single. Only 13% of those single, this is a Match and Kinsey Institute's survey, only 13% seeking committed relationships. 27% don't want a relationship. 47% not actively looking. So whatever, 74% with the rounding. But yeah, 27 and 47% not actively looking. I thought that was interesting because, all this talk about dating apps, it turns out, it's a very small fraction of people that use dating apps. I just found this interesting. A larger number, sort of across the spectrum are meeting through dating apps, but it's in aggregate, it's not that many. How many dating sites have you been with on the past year? Again, this is more survey research.
I can't imagine you've been on any dating sites.
No. How many dating sites have you been on within the past year? 62% of singles say 0.
Good.
0.
Meet your lady or man at church.
Well, it also,
Library.
I guess it also speaks that there's still a lot of upside for those dating apps financially with that much of a ostensibly market that is not engaged. Something else though. This was really interesting too. This is just the data. This is really digging into the data. You got to follow the science and data,
right?
Not just for COVID, but also for single. The share of single men in the U.S. who are looking for dates or relationship has declined since 2019. So overall, it's declined from 49 to 42, 42% looking for dates or relationship. Men, it's dropped from 61 to 50. Single women, it's dropped from 38 to 35. There's a real divide between men and women here, which is sort of interesting as well. Most singles report having been in a romantic relationship 0 to 1 times in the past year. Yeah, it's people are atomized. It's quite interesting. Also, this. How many in-person dates did you go on in the last year? The majority of single people went on 0.
Really?
0.
Oh, they're digging in their heels.
As Moskowitz writes, what I especially find curious is that 1 is the most popular response rather than 0. How many in-person dates? How many in-person dates were first dates? 1. That's the most popular answer. So for the essentially 45% of those people who went on an in-person date, the most number, the plurality was 1. They went on 1 first date. And he writes, what I find curious is that 1 is the most popular response rather than 0. It would make sense to me the answer is frequently 0 dates because you're not trying or you aren't date ready in various senses. What's super weird is the vast majority did go on the 1 first date, the majority of the minority that went on any dates, but mostly didn't go on a second, and only half of those went on a third. It's as if people are capable of getting a date, then they go on one and recoil in the oh no, not that again horror for about a year and then repeat the cycle. Yeah, that is if that's an experience you've had, like single date, terrible, now I'm gonna, go into hiding for a year and I'll think about it again in 2024 or, whatever, if you've had that experience. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. The other thing that's interesting, maybe I should be a dating coach, those who can't teach.
You could be that.
Yeah. If you went on 4 or more first dates in the past year, it's highly unlikely you're single. So this idea that I've just dated this string of losers, I go on first date after first date after first date and I never meet anybody, that actually is not borne out by the data. If you do make the effort to go on multiple first dates, then it's highly unlikely you're single if you do that 4 more times, that you're going to find somebody that you're potentially compatible with, at least to, I guess, explore a relationship.
Dan, if
that's
you
kind of interesting.
Meet your lady at a library, he might really be a drag queen.
Yeah, well, that's one of the questions you have to ask now these days on the first date. Have you always been a woman?
Right. And what pronouns do you use? Oh, I would never ask that.
Also, this is just 2012 to 2021.
Yeah.
In 2012, both young men and women age 18 to 25 were more likely to be single than married, right? Or single than a relationship. However, women were almost twice as likely to report being single in 2012 as in 2021. Young men differed only by 3 percentage points with being single in 20. So women twice as likely to report being single in 2012 as 2021. Men, it's basically the same.
Okay.
Twice as likely versus the same. So as Moskowitz observes, I mean, men being single more often than previously in other age groups, rather less. It's not young women pairing off with older men unless those men are also double. The math only offers a few possible explanations on what could have changed. It's pretty wild. It's rather odd to have such a women half as likely to be single in 2021 as 2012, and men in the same age group is the same. What's going on there?
Text message. The problem with dating apps, Dan and Amy, is that most women post pics that look like Jennifer Aniston. Then upon meeting them, they better resemble John Goodman.
Yeah, well, you can't. I mean, I don't know. Who thinks they're going to get away with that?
Oh, people try.
I know. I hear the stories, but
furious. And
but I mean,
laid into her. Oh boy.
So they'll know. Maybe they actually think they look like some sort of doctored photo of themselves. I don't know.
Don't start off with a lie. It's not going to end well.
All right.
A lot of phone calls here.
Robert in Lakeview's got a dating story. Oh, good.
Hey, good morning, Dan. So I went on a date last weekend. Actually met her through a dating app, and beautiful girl. Had some really good banter prior to the date. Shows up to the date. Go to a nice cocktail bar in the city, and one of the first things that comes out of her mouth, and she volunteers this information, is that she says, "Oh, well, I'm a socialist."
Oh, yeah.
And
bye.
How do you not
handle that?
No, but how do you not pre-qualify her? How do you not pre-qualify her?
You got to vet these people.
Good point. It wasn't I'm a Democrat or I'm a liberal. It's totally I'm a socialist.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Tell me about what some of the policies that make you feel that way. And she was all about universal health care and started giving me some data about costs of health care and other countries that have universal health care, et cetera. So trust me, this gets better. So we continue on the date. We're having a good time, and then it comes to the end of the evening, and I lean in for the kiss, and she says, "Well, what's your opinion on abortion?"
Oh my!
Like, come on!
A bit of a mood killer.
Wow, you can't make that up.
Yeah, and I told her, and she wasn't having it, and so I was like, "Hey, listen, like, this has been a problem in the past with other gals, that feel the way you do." And I said, if it's going to be a problem, then you should just kind of move on. And she left, and it was a little awkward. And I texted her a day or two later, said, "Hey, I had a good time. How was the rest of your weekend?" And she texts me back and says, "Hey, Robert, had a great time, but I can't be with somebody that doesn't appreciate an unconditional bodily autonomy for a woman." I was like, "All good. Have a good one."
Yeah.
Take
See,
care.
I mean, I know, she's a pretty girl, and you didn't run the traps because she was good looking, and now look at you. So you gotta, now you gotta. It would have been nice if you had one more opportunity. Don't go around kissing socialists as a general rule, but it'd be nice if, and then you do the lean in, and then she leans in, and then you say, "Wait a second, what's your view on nuclear proliferation?" or something like that to do the. You gotta do that. You gotta reverse that at some point. A little jujitsu.
I love that. Thanks.
All right, Robert. Again, you gotta ask, you gotta get a sense of somebody's viewpoints, don't you? Before you go out and spend couple $100 on drinks, which is what they cost these days. By the way, speaking of that, how couples meet. This is all so fascinating to me. 27. It's not.
It's bars, right?
Well, the big thing that's changed, obviously, from 95 to
Weddings.
2017, which is this Statista data. 2% online in 95, of course.
Oh, yeah, that was
39% now. But it's still, like, bar and restaurant is big. Through friends is about the same. Actually, it's declined a little bit, but bar and restaurant is actually increased. At work is a little less. At school is a little less. Through families a little less, just because online is so much more of the plurality. But those other areas or those other means to meeting people are still, in play, as it were. Chris and Carrie.
Hey, good morning, guys. I find Tim Scott, I don't know if you guys ever seen the Howard Stern show, but he looks an awful lot like Beetlejuice from that. I just find it very distracting whenever he speaks.
You don't think he's a good-looking man? He's not good enough for his imaginary girlfriend? Yeah.
No. Check it out.
Thanks for the call, Chris.
Oh.
I like Tim Scott, but I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
think
like
he's
him
ugly.
that way. I don't know.
Fine.
I mean, there's a lot of uglier guys that walking around.
You're darn right there is.
Chuck and Delavan.
The reason why I'm single is because I hit on Adele at the Vic. My buddy ran the backstage. I got into a lot of concerts, and she turned me down, but she was already pregnant with that kid. And then Whitney Houston at the United Center, and then Shania Twain at Country Thunder.
Yeah.
And then I proposed marriage 3 times to my girlfriend with 2 different cubic zirconiums, and she's in pretty good company, and she turned me down 3 times. So that's why I'm single right now.
Yeah.
But you got to keep your options open.
Well, you got to keep trying. Yeah, keep swinging out there, Chuck and Delavan. Don't hit on pregnant women. That's probably a bad play. Or superstars that have never.
Or socialists.
Or socialists. I think for the proposal, you need the real McCoy, don't you?
Yeah.
Cubic zirconium doesn't cut it. Literally.
She deserves it. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning News.
All right, at 7:37, we're going to talk to S.A. McCarthy about the U.S.'s woke diplomacy and its impacts. 7:37. Maybe that's the lean-in. Yeah. What do you think about the U.S.'s woke diplomacy before we get into it?
But now let's get into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7.
Mike, where did you meet Melissa, your wife?
In line for dinner at Carter Hall at Covenant College when I was a junior and she was a freshman.
Look at you.
Remember every detail. I was right behind.
Junior Fred robbing the cradle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big man on
Couldn't
campus.
have done any better. You can print that. 57 degrees at 7:32. Tropical storm Idalia triggering life-threatening flash floods in parts of eastern North Carolina. Storm that came on shore as a Category 3 hurricane in Florida, now a tropical storm, but sustained winds, according to Fox's Caroline Shively, at 60 miles an hour.
For coastal Carolina, this is a very different type of storm. Instead of tracking in from the ocean, Idalia is attacking from the land. Hurricane Idalia hit Florida's west coast as a monster Category 3 storm, bringing with it record-breaking storm surge. Idalia made landfall in the Big Bend area of Florida, where the Panhandle meets the peninsula, then kept right on rolling.
This is crazy.
Pounding Georgia, then South Carolina, and now headed toward the North Carolina coast. It will be a much weaker storm that roars through North Carolina than out to the Atlantic. But tonight is a supermoon at its closest orbit to the Earth, making its gravitational pull stronger and high tides even higher.
Fox's Caroline Shively. Amazon employees have resisted the company's return to office policy, but now they may not have a choice. The CEO telling employees it was past time to disagree and commit to the policy, requiring corporate employees to be in the office, but only 3 days a week. At least 73, including more than a half dozen kids, are dead after fires swept through a building in South Africa. Emergency services officials in Johannesburg say 52 were injured in one of the country's worst tenement fires. The FDA says a brand of eye drops is being recalled because it may contain fungus. It's a voluntary recall from Dr. Bernie's Whole Health Products, and it's being expanded. Nebraska Republican Governor Jim Pillen is issuing an executive order to establish a Women's Bill of Rights. The measure will declare a biological definition of a female and male, as well as detail the differences between the sexes. The order would also declare that the sex of a person is defined as the gender designated at birth. 2 men and 4 children are hospitalized after a shooting in Peoria overnight. It happened around 9 p.m. when police responded to a residential neighborhood in South Peoria. 2 of the victims are in critical condition. An extra alarm fire broke out in a Southside home this morning in the 700 block of East 93rd. No word on injuries. Fire doused around 6:30 this morning. Police say a 61-year-old woman was severely beaten during a carjacking in Harwood Heights. It happened yesterday morning. Police say they were contacted about a woman found just lying in the street just across from Chicago's Wilbur Wright College. Responding officers found the 61-year-old woman beaten with life-threatening injuries. She was taken to a local hospital, and she remains this morning in critical condition. And police in Hammond, Indiana say, yes, they are aware of a video circulating online that allegedly shows an officer deep in sleep while on duty in a squad car. Northwest Indiana Times says that Facebook video showing the man driving by a Hammond police car with the officer's eyes closed has been reviewed. Cubs beat the rival Brewers 3-2 at Wrigley Field. Cubs now 3 back of Milwaukee. They have a doubleheader against Cincinnati tomorrow. White Sox pound out 15 hits in a 10-5 win over the Orioles. The Bears are not finished finalizing their 53-man roster just yet, signing key defensive end off waivers Khalid Kareem yesterday. The news service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees shady business going on.
And so they have this coalition called the BRICS, a block of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. One of the things they're talking about in South Africa is the desire to strengthen their currencies and undermine the U.S. dollar, which would make us poor immediately. Poorer and poor immediately.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a professional tree climber. That's what I do for a living. And I'm just hopped up with just energy. Loved it. I want to keep those Balance of Nature. Matter of fact, I've told a bunch of people about them. I know that 2 or 3 of my friends have jumped on the bandwagon because I told them, I said, I just felt energized, all the time. It took a couple weeks for me to really notice, but I just had so much more energy. My doctor told me to keep taking them because he recommends it to his patients, and he takes them.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Loaner Tool Program has more than 80 specialty loaner tools available to help you with your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
740 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. 32 on the inbound Edens, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy right now, an hour 20 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. On the Ike right now, it is an hour and 30 minutes from 390 into the old post office, while the Ike outbound is 34 to Manheim and an hour back out to 390. Stevenson inbound, an hour 6 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan inbound, 34 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and beautiful, 77 today, clear 59 overnight. Typical summer Friday tomorrow, sunshine and 84. 59 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know what's interesting about, we're talking about Tim Scott being single as we were before the news.
We found out some more information.
Well, back in 2012, he basically said he was a virgin until 30. Mm-hmm. The 30-year-old virgin, Tim Scott. But that after 16 years in public life, he was not a virgin anymore, although he still properly understood the biblical admonition on the topic. It would be interesting, actually, if he talked about that. It would get him a lot of attention.
It would be cool. Like, why he's not married, and his whole
30-year-old virgin.
Well,
I mean, it's sort of like all the attention that was generated by Mike Pence. The press finding out that Mike Pence will not have dinner alone with a woman who's not his wife.
Right. Or lunch. He will not go anywhere with a woman alone because he doesn't want any accusations.
Yeah. But so, I mean, it's just, it would be interesting how the conversation that would generate if Tim Scott decided to take that issue on straight away. Anyway, I mean, these cultural issues are important. They're certainly important to the left, it would seem, and not just domestically. We used to be in the business of trying to export small d democracy. Now we're in the business of trying to export cultural Marxism. This piece from S.A. McCarthy at RealClearInvestigations.com. He's a news writer at the Washington Stand. He's also been published by the American Spectator and Crisis Magazine. Woke U.S. Diplomacy is the name of his piece. Not 100% popular around the globe, nor at home. We talk a lot about it at home. We don't talk as much about, I don't know, State Department grants to finance drag shows in Ecuador, or to promote greater social acceptance of LGBTQ in Botswana. Highest, best use of our tax dollars, your tax dollars. S.A. McCarthy joins us now. Thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much for having me on the show, guys.
So, exporting cultural Marxism, the alphabet soup of die and LGBTQ2S+++, that's something that's been attendant to the Biden administration from its outset.
Yeah, it's something that Biden signed a national security memorandum and issued it pretty shortly after being sworn into office, declaring LGBTQ advocacy chief goal for federal institutions, and especially federal institutions abroad. And so you've got all these U.S. embassies, the U.S. State Department promoting LGBT ideology, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, in foreign nations, nations that we're supposed to be fostering, decent diplomatic relationships with, and in some cases, we're actually jeopardizing that in order to promote this ideology.
Well, give us an example of how the relationship is being jeopardized. I mean, I can understand in certain countries with certain segments, including maybe the government, they don't share these views about men gyrating in scantily clad men pretending to be women gyrating in front of kids. Some people in the Western Hemisphere might not like that. Some people in religious-oriented governments in Africa and elsewhere might not like that. But how does that translate beyond just them seeing sort of America as profligate and perhaps immoral to the sort of the larger policy framework of the relationship?
Yeah, so this is not just a matter of, we differ on, we have the same goals, my country and your country, we have the same goals. We just differ on policies to achieve that goal. This is a fundamental difference in actual goals, in the actual purpose of what each government is trying to achieve. So you have, as you noted, in some nations, it's like majority Muslim nations, promotion of LGBTQ and such is not overtly popular. It would be safe to say. You've got in some countries, like in Kuwait, you actually had the U.S. ambassador to Kuwait was actually called into the Kuwaiti government's office and was to some degree censured. He was reprimanded publicly for promoting LGBTQ ideology in a nation where same-sex sexual activity is not legally permissible. And even in what we consider more like advanced nations, like in Hungary, the U.S. ambassador there, David Pressman, has been taking heat from the Hungarian government for promoting LGBTQ ideology in classrooms and such, and criticizing laws that they have saying, you can't promote LGBT ideology to minors. And he's been criticizing that and has been publicly criticized for it by the Hungarian government.
Well, in your article that's at realclearinvestigations.com, you said that there's nearly $5 million has been spent abroad on LGBT programs alone. What exactly are they getting for $5 million?
Lots. They're getting promotion. You're getting, you've got some of the specific examples that I cite in the article are things like you've got a $20,000 grant from the U.S. State Department to fund drag shows in Ecuador. These are the same kind of events that we have American citizens showing up to protest, in Texas, in Virginia, West Virginia, all over the nation. We've got U.S. citizens showing up to protest these things in our own backyard, but we're paying $20,000 to an LGBT organization in Ecuador so they can put on drag shows. We paid $10,000 in a grant to a Portuguese LGBT activism group. They funded a film festival that included drag performances and depictions of incest and pederasty, which is, same-sex sexual relationships between an adult male and a male child, post-pubescent male who's a minor. And we're funding that $10,000 to fund films promoting incest, pederasty, and drag shows. And we gave a $300,000 grant to Botswana to fund LGBTQ advocacy groups that specifically target quote, religious groups and traditional groups, end quote. So like the Roman Catholic Church, most evangelical Christians, Muslims, Orthodox Jews, who say that LGBTQism, homosexuality, etc., is immoral. They say that it should be, avoided, or something that, maybe isn't healthy for you spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. And yet we're funding to the tune of, over $250,000 in a foreign nation. We're funding initiatives to target those groups, those religious organizations.
Well, I mean, it's good enough to fund them in our government school systems here. So I guess what's good for us is good for the rest of the world. So we think. I mean, this isn't surprising, and the values coming into conflict, not surprising either. But I'm sort of more interested in what, and you started to get to this with the Kuwait and our ambassador being censured by the Kuwaiti government, effectively censured by the Kuwaiti government. How this phrase the relationship between countries, particularly where maybe the relationship isn't that strong to begin with, or there's skepticism on both sides. It's sort of a relationships out of necessity that are on again, off again, versus more long-standing relationships, and particularly in the West, where the West has sort of gone in the direction of cultural Marxism, like we have as well. The developing world in particular, I just wonder how that plays out in terms of our ability to collaborate with these governments for more important matters than exporting cultural Marxism, like things that have to do with our national security or things that have to do with opening up markets for American goods and services.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if you look at, as you mentioned, in the developing world, look at Uganda. You don't really need to look much further than that. They just introduced a law introducing stricter penalties for what was already previously criminalized same-sex sexual activity, particularly introducing life imprisonment for pedophilia, acts of pedophilia. And we've been criticizing them for that. That's a developing nation. They're a nation that, it relies really and to a large degree on Western generosity, Western goodness and kindness. And so if we want to promote these ideas of, taking care of people, taking care of the needy, why aren't we taking care of them? Instead, you've got the World Bank is trying to cut funding to them. You've got the U.S. is criticizing them, including Republicans. I remember Ted Cruz made a Twitter post criticizing them for their new laws. We're trying to dictate laws to foreign nations, and especially foreign nations, even some that we consider, more advanced or more sophisticated. If you look at Europe, for example, most of Western Europe, in France, in the UK, even in countries like Sweden, you've got a number of these countries are now backing off of transgenderism, particularly transgenderism for children, these gender transition procedures for minors, and saying there's not enough research out about these things. We're not going to push this. We're not going to promote this. And yet we're still doing that, not just here, but we're trying to do that to these other nations who are saying, you know what, we've done our research. We think that this might be a bad idea. And so with all the crises that we have going on across the globe, we really need to be fostering strong relationships with these foreign entities instead of just promoting an ideology that they've already looked at and chosen not to promote or advance or accept.
He is S.A. McCarthy, news writer for the Washington Stand, also been published in the American Spectator, Real Clear Investigations, and Crisis Magazine. RealClearInvestigations.com is where you can find his piece, Woke U.S. Diplomacy, not 100% popular around the globe, nor at home. S.A., thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principle if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investyrefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YREFI-24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investyrefi.com or call 888-YREFI-24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. Fitch, one of the big three rating services, has recently downgraded the credit rating of the U.S. government. Now, the rating is still high. We're not a junk bond yet, but this is still a concern. The media spun it as a response to Republican brinksmanship over the debt ceiling. Yet Fitch mentioned, well, how high our debt is. The Biden administration said the call was made based on outdated information. But the most recent information is even more damning, as the Congressional Budget Office once again has raised its prediction of our long-term debt outlook. The reality is that rating agencies have been too slow, not too fast, to blow the whistle. Credit rating agencies depend directly on recognition by federal regulators. The SEC can put them out of business like that. They have every incentive to cut the feds some slack, which means they only cut the rating when the case to do so is strong. Our government needs to get serious about cutting spending and stop attacking the messengers. I'm Jerry Boyer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, when you're not eating anything, you're not getting any nutrition, it really took a toll on my health. Balance of Nature keeps upping my nutrition and just making me healthier. And my energy is good with it, so I like it.
At 64 years old, I know I eat terribly. So with the Balance of Nature, I do feel better because, you know, as you get older, you start to get a little slower, a little more tired. And at my age now, I'm bouncing around on ladders. The product is fantastic.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. My name is Jason Hansen. I become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Ask any old football player or fan, and they'll tell you offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Sean Thompson here, and you know who else knows that. It's Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. He knows winning doesn't just happen. It's a result of having a good coach who draws up the right strategy and then makes adjustments along the way. So think of Tom as your retirement defensive coordinator, protecting your retirement savings against inflation, market loss, or a pick six from Uncle Sam. With Tom's complimentary retirement roadmap, you'll find out what's working in your game plan or what's not. If you're serious about winning in retirement, call 630-934-1855. Ask for the Retirement Roadmap. That's 630-934-1855. Or find Tom online at alphawealthgroup.com and listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump says we will not comply with the kind of COVID mandates that were imposed during his last year as president. We'll start there with John Tierney from the City Journal at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Tensions are high over a plan to use a hotel as a migrant shelter. Southwest Airlines pilot staging international pickets at Midway. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Idalia still churning up the East Coast. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It'll go out to sea soon, but
we still aren't done yet. We still have the potential of this tropical storm bringing gusty winds as well as heavy rainfall up to 10 inches in some of these areas.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean, Idalia's flooded areas of the Carolina coast and Georgia, where a man was killed by a falling tree. There's a lot of damage where the hurricane first hit.
This roof was completely torn off of this house. Other parts of the roof have been pushed up against this power line. There are couches strewn all about.
Fox Business's Grady Trimble in Keaton Beach, Florida.
We have seen power crews in the area, but 99% of this county, Taylor County, still without power this morning, and it could be a while before it comes back online.
300,000 power outages remain from there to the Carolinas. They're searching for more victims in the smoldering ruins of a 5-story building that burned in Johannesburg, South Africa early this morning. At least 73 people were killed. A South African official says it was a haven for criminal gangs.
Some of these buildings, if not most of them, are actually in the hands of those cartels who collect rental from our people.
Dozens of other people were injured in northern Italy. An out-of-service train with no passengers on board smashed into a group of workers doing nighttime track maintenance, killing 5 of them. North Korea is at it again.
North Korea's military says it fired 2 tactical ballistic missiles from Pyongyang on Wednesday night as practice scorched earth nuclear strikes on South Korea that would target major command centers and operational airfields.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The launches come after more U.S. South Korean military exercises. There's news on the economy showing a slight increase in year-over-year inflation. In a Commerce Department gauge the Federal Reserve tracks closely, prices rose 0.2% in July over June. The annual inflation rate rose from 3 to 3.3%. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, we have 63 degrees. At 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Police Department remembering former CPD Superintendent Matt Rodriguez today. Rodriguez died yesterday at the age of 87. He made history as the first Latino to lead CPD here in Chicago. 2 men and 4 children hospitalized after shooting broke out in Peoria overnight in a residential neighborhood south of the city center. 2 of the victims are in critical condition. Charges pending against a man accused of attacking 2 Chicago firefighters on the south side. The firefighters were called out yesterday to a home in the 7700 block of South Marshfield on reports of a garage fire. Police say the man lured 2 Chicago firefighters into his home where the floor was covered with gasoline. Other firefighters then had to smash a window to reach the battalion chief and lieutenant. 2 knives and a gun were recovered. A 5-year-old Chicago boy is dead following an apparent accidental shooting in Gary, Indiana. Police say the child picked up a gun at a relative's home yesterday and shot himself. It belonged to a man who was sleeping and laid the gun down. A coalition of congressional leaders, some Illinois business officials, and some immigration advocates want illegal migrants entered into the workforce. It was at a press conference yesterday where U.S. Senator Dick Durbin was asked why.
Because American workers are not taking these jobs. These immigrants are ready to step in and take the hardest, dirtiest, roughest jobs imaginable because they always have.
Currently, migrants cannot apply for work permits until 5 months after they've applied for asylum in the U.S. Chicago sports, Cubs over the Brewers, 3-2. They're now 3 back of Milwaukee in the NL Central. White Sox, 10-5 winners over the Orioles. The News, a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr., now heard Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. The Answer. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street will be reacting today to a fresh reading on inflation. The PCE index for July, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index. Hormel Foods is reporting a disappointing quarter, and it says shoppers have been highly intentional in their spending. It's a sign that higher prices are forcing customers to cut back. Cloud-based enterprise software company Salesforce topped forecast with its earnings for the recent quarter. Salesforce also owns messaging app Slack. Cybersecurity company CrowdStrike and also identity management software business Okta reported better than expected quarters. Online pet food seller Chewy made a profit in the period, and its sales were better than predicted. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda. Invested in you.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees only one way for DeSantis.
The strategy has to be, listen, I want to win. I want to beat Joe Biden. I support the MAGA movement. I support what Trump accomplished. I support his ideology. I just don't think he can win, but I can. That's the only way. Ron DeSantis is going to be the nominee.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The roof was completely gone.
All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got 20 minutes of sheer terror.
And you can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house.
My son started screaming, we're going to die, we're going to die. In the name of Jesus, we are not going to die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI. Or download the app today.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. Over 15 million this year alone. And many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy.
Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When Freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of MyPillow. Big news. The MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. Extremely absorbent, yet providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. For a limited time, 50% savings with promo code LIBERTY. Inbound Eden's 37 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy 90 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound 90 minutes from 390 to the old post office. An accident blocking a left-hand lane inbound on 290 at Damon. Stevenson inbound, it's an hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Stevenson right now at 53 minutes. In from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 45 from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange, and an accident on the right-hand shoulder inbound in the locals right next to the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunny skies, a very nice day. High today at 77. It'll be clear tonight, low 59. A sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 84. Sunshine, it'll be hot on Saturday, the high 91. And then sunny and hot Sunday, the high 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
63 at O'Hare, 61 at Midway. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Former President Trump took to social media to post a commentary in response to the increased patter from the COVIDians about masks, about the variant.
About this new booster shot coming out in 2 weeks. It's going to save the world.
Well, because the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, saying, it's going to be approved by the FDA in 2 weeks, no trials. And we're going to get it funded, and everybody should take it because I said so. Trump saying, we will not comply with these mandates again, including mandates that I presided over in my last year as president. This is about as close as I think you'll get to Trump expressing some humility, maybe some contrition for what he allowed during that last year of his presidency.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
So perhaps lessons learned both about managing a pandemic as well as managing the ballot security of an election. And I hope in a subsequent video we'll hear Trump talk about whether he admits culpability, some culpability or not, talk about what wasn't done in 2020 and 2022, what is going to be done this year under his leadership with him, if he is the nominee, to address robust vote-by-mail programs to compete with Democrats, to address ballot security. That means the personnel and the resources devoted up front, not after the fact.
Right. On
site, not in courtrooms trying to litigate it after the fact. I'd like to hear that piece of it as well. But we'll stick on COVID. And the booster that Biden is going to recommend, Marty McCarry wrote about this in the Wall Street Journal. And some people say, well, and he's critical of the no clinical trials with respect to this new booster. And people might say, well, there's no clinical trials to approve the flu vaccine every year, the flu shots that people get. And McCarry addresses that. Flu shots use a traditional vaccine platform that has withstood the test of time, but COVID vaccines have higher complication rates. The latter have a rate of serious adverse events as high as 1 in 556 doses, according to a study published last year in the journal Vaccine. They've also been found to cause myocarditis in young people at a rate 6 to 28 times the incidence after infection, according to a JAMA cardiology study. The novel COVID booster shot may be warranted for some high-risk patients, but pushing it hard for young and old alike without human outcomes data makes a mockery of the scientific method and our regulatory process. Well, why would the COVIDians stop mocking our regulatory and scientific processes now? Served them so well to this point. John Tierney joins us now, contributing editor to the City Journal, former reporter and columnist at the New York Times, and co-author of The Power of Bad, How the Negativity Effect Rules Us and How We Can Rule It. John, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Great to be back, Dan.
Well, we mentioned this piece that you wrote for City Journal the other day on masks, similar to Marty McCarry writing on boosters. And by the way, just on the booster thing, a quick aside, I won't go through it, but Alex Berenson has a good post over at his Substack, 10-point primer on why the mRNA COVID shots are different from and riskier than other vaccines. So you should go through that as well. Berenson's done some great reporting on this, as have you, John. And you focus on the masks, where McCarry is focused on the boosters. And not just the studies that we know from the past, but what we're learning with each passing day as more post-mortem investigations are done.
Right. There was a new study in The Lancet that was funded by actually the Bill Gates Foundation. And of course, Bill Gates is a maskaholic. He's desperate to have more lockdowns, and he's already planning for the next pandemic. And this study, it looked at it was like dozens of researchers from 6 universities, and they found, and they looked at the 50 states, they looked at the mask mandates, found no connection between mask mandates and COVID infections or mortality. So, this is even from, folks who were trying to find, justifications for the lockdown measures and the mask mandates. And, and I've pointed out in City Journal that if you looked at the weekly rate of infections and mask policy, absolutely, it was absolutely identical through the pandemic in the states with mandates and the ones without. And of course, the greatest. I'm sorry, Amy, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying the biggest purveyors of misinformation was the CDC. And they're never going to come clean and admit that, the efficiency of masks is non-existent.
Right. No, there's just no evidence that they work, and the CDC has been peddling junk science and cherry pick data throughout the pandemic. One of the great examples is Germany has some of the strictest mandates in the world. They everybody had to wear not a cloth mask but a surgical mask for the whole country, and Berlin and Bavaria actually required N95 masks. And their infection rate and stuff, they had higher excess mortality in Germany than Sweden, where just about nobody wore masks. The government told people not to, and Sweden did better than Germany. But all these examples just don't matter to the maskaholics. They, I compare them to these villagers in Cambodia who put up magic scarecrows in front of their huts to ward off the coronavirus. It's a cult. It's a religious belief.
Maybe that'll be next. Also on the mask thing, you look a university of a study out of a university in South Korea looked at disposable medical grade masks. And it's like, well, we just need people to move from cloth mats to medical grade. Everybody gets medical grade masks, and those are effective. Well, there's a cost benefit that needs to be done there too. What they found is that the levels of toxic volatile organic compounds in those polypropylene, polyurethane, nylon KF94 masks in South Korea, which are the equivalent of our KN95 masks, they're about 8 times the recommended limit by our own Environmental Protection Agency, 8 times the recommended limit of these toxic volatile organic compounds found in these masks. And so, we talked about this during COVID as well, too, that the excessive mask wearing, the lack of cleaning, which is what, most people will sort of default to do, it also negatively impacts your health. And here's another study that suggests that.
Exactly. The CDC has never even pretended to do cost-benefit analysis to actually look at the known harms of masks. There's this constellation of symptoms called mask-induced exhaustion syndrome, headaches, difficulty concentrating. And in the City Journal piece I mentioned, some German researchers came out with a review of the literature where they pointed out that high carbon dioxide levels have been linked with all kinds of problems in the body, and that people who wear masks for a long period of time are exceeding those levels. When the U.S. Navy started having female crews, they set limits on carbon dioxide in the submarines because of research showing that elevated levels correlated with stillbirths. And yet, those levels are being exceeded by mask wearers, and yet the CDC is telling everyone, including pregnant women, to wear masks, on indoor public transportation. And if the COVID levels get high, everybody should wear masks, including toddlers. Europe is not cruel enough to mask toddlers, but we are alone in that cruelty, the U.S.
Wanted to just get your take. We were talking about it earlier in the program about how far you think this is going to go this time around. And I suggested that, in places that have otherwise lost their minds, big cities, the school districts in big cities, you'll see some of this, maybe even the form of mandates. But I think there is a lot more skepticism spread across a lot bigger proportion of the population this go around for these sorts of mask and vax mandates than there was the first go around. And I just don't. I think you'll hear guidances, and you should do this and you should do that. But I don't think you're going to have the sort of pervasive mandates that you saw the first go around.
I think that's a good guess. As you pointed out, even Trump, who stood by for those mandates during, when he was actually president, he's come around now too. My City Journal piece, someone posted a comment, a Dr. Seuss response to mask mandates, and I'll read it to you. It's, I will not wear it on my face. I will not wear it any place. I will not wear it to get in. I will not wear it on my chin. I will not wear it on my ear. I will not wear it out of fear. I will not wear your stupid mask. I will not wear it. Do not ask.
Theodore Dreiser lives. Yes, very, very, very good. Hopefully that's a sentiment that continues to grow. John Tierney, contributing editor to the City Journal, rhyme master, former reporter and columnist at the New York Times, and co-author of The Power of Bad, How the Negativity Effect Rules Us and How We Can Rule It. John, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well read. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560, The Answer.
There are more than 50 million people enslaved in the world today. Most of them are women and children.
They lock you in cellars or in rooms with no windows. 95% of girls that are born in the brothels remain trapped in the brothels for the rest of their lives.
SOS International is working to make freedom possible for these women and kids. And with your help, today can be the day another victim comes into freedom.
By the hundreds, we are saving those girls and bringing them to a secure place. A place that is a safe home for them to grow in.
Just $150 makes freedom possible for a trafficking victim. It provides shelter, food, counseling, everything they need to start a new life. Make freedom possible now. Visit 560theanswer.com/SOS. Every day that goes by is another day of suffering and abuse. But you can change it now. You can make today the day of freedom and rescue. Learn how you can bring freedom now at 560theanswer.com/SOS.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, when you're not eating anything, you're not getting any nutrition, it really took a toll on my health. Balance of Nature is upping my nutrition and just making me healthier, and my energy is good with it, so I like it.
At 64 years old, I know I eat terribly, but with the Balance of Nature, I do feel better because, you know, as you get older, you start to get a little slower, a little more tired. And at my age now, I'm bouncing around on ladders. The product is fantastic.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, Jim Carr here. I am the owner of Carr Machine and Tool in Elk Grove Village and loyal customer of Signature Bank. As a second-generation owner, I knew I had to shift from operating as an old-school machine shop to what I can proudly say is now one of the fastest-growing aerospace manufacturing facilities in the region. Signature Bank was there every step of the way through our expansion efforts, including financing our new state-of-the-art facility. Their valuable industry expertise and constant communication throughout the construction process made our vision possible. Many thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Carr Machine and Tool. You set the bar high for other banks.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The roof was completely gone.
All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got 20 minutes of sheer terror.
And you can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house.
My son started screaming, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. In the name of Jesus, we are not gonna die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. Oil and natural gas keep going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help the U.S. with your patriotic investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-accredited investor and have at least $25,000 liquid now, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects and a huge tax savings for this year. If you invest in oil and natural gas, you're allowed to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel, and natural gas is the fuel of the future and trading at record prices. Call 800-287-6691. Encore Energy is a major investment investor and experienced operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 800-287-6691. That's 800-287-6691.
AM 560, The Answer.
So Theodore Geisel was canceled, and then you just heard John Tierney bring him back. COVID brought him back. Dr. Seuss, impersonators out there. Inflation fighting, another problem that we have. And the party bros are on it. Well, you just heard,
the party bros are back?
You just heard that we have inflation ticking up, 3.3% annualized now. Little spike from June to July. And the party bros are feeling it. And they've zeroed in on how inflation, or inflation as they call it,
this is great.
Impacting their lives. I mean, and it's great because it's a real story about real people being hurt by profligate government spending and monetary policy. The party bros at the LA City Council making their case and asking for help, petitioning their local government.
What up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger. Let me just get straight to it. Inflation is out of control. I just got back from a boys' trip to Vegas. Shout out to Bong. We're celebrating his incoming nuptials. And while we were there, we loaded up on fat bottles of Tito's. Bong crowd surfed, and Danny had a deep conversation with one of the bottle girls about the state of masculinity. Anyways, we're finishing up the night. Then we get the bill back. I'm not jonesing you dudes. Each bottle cost 800 bones. I can remember just a month ago when a bottle of Tito's cost $30. This war in Russia is killing us. Now inflation has affected us so hard that I had to call my dad to afford an epic night with the fellas. And now I want to know, when do we stomp our vans down and say nah? Inflation is so rampant that it has stifled one of our most basic rights, like bottle service at affordable prices. So that's why I'm here by requesting that the city of Los Angeles put a governor lock on inflation by keeping high-end booze affordable. Now more than ever, the world is so topsy-turvy. All right, late.
Yeah, it's time ran. I think he made his point about the constitutional right to affordable bottle service. By the way,
I'm going to call it inflation.
I mean, did you catch the thing about this boys' weekend in Vegas with Bong?
Reminded me of Justin.
Yeah, it turns out.
Yeah.
Justin is Bong. Bong Justin was out with the party bros, Chad and JT, on his bachelor party.
Tattoos, matching tattoos.
They all had to throw in for that bottle of Tito's.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, Sohrab Amari, founder and editor of Compact Magazine, has a new book, Tyranny, Inc. We'll discuss 8:38.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is our party bro, our news bro, Mike Scott.
Every night, all night.
Yeah.
Rocking the cranberry juice all the time. 63 degrees at 8:31. Thousands are still in the dark.
Assisted 12 lives throughout the southeast region.
As of this morning, 100,000 power outages there. Tropical storm Idalia does not appear to be getting in the way of a major Labor Day holiday travel rush. The FAA says 14 million travelers are trying to fly somewhere, 11% more than last year. Jobless claims in the U.S. are at their lowest level in 4 weeks. The Department of Labor says unemployment insurance claims for the week ending August 26 were at 228,000. There are reports that a human smuggler with links to ISIS has been helping migrants from Uzbekistan sneak across the southern border. Experts say it's proof that organized crime is becoming more international.
I'm afraid that the Mexican mafia is getting more and more with groups around the planet.
Professor Tony Payan is at the Rice University Baker Institute. Now, the Uzbek nationals are not believed to be a security risk, and that smuggler is said to be more of an ISIS sympathizer than an actual terrorist. But Payan says it shows how open the southern border has become. 2 men and 4 children hospitalized after an overnight shooting in Peoria. 2 of the victims, including 1 juvenile, are in very critical condition. A 5-year-old Chicago boy is dead following an apparent accidental shooting in Gary, Indiana. It happened yesterday. The gun was apparently brought into the home by a relative who placed it down and then promptly fell asleep. Prosecutors have dropped all felony charges against an Iowa man arrested in 2021 by Chicago police for having guns and ammunition in his hotel room, overlooking a popular tourist attraction. The Sun-Times reports Cook County prosecutors completely dropped felony charges against Keegan Castile this week after pleading guilty to a misdemeanor and ordered to pay a small fine. Castile said he had packed the guns and ammunition by mistake as he was traveling to Chicago to propose to his girlfriend on the Ferris wheel at Navy Pier. Cubs claimed their series with the rival Brewers with yesterday's 3-2 victory at Wrigley Field. Cubbies now just 3 back of the Brew Crew and a doubleheader with the Reds tomorrow. White Sox pound out 15 hits and a 10-5 win over Baltimore. The news service of Wendy's BOGO $1 deal. It's back at participating Wendy's. Buy a Dave's single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece nugs or medium frosty, and get another one for $1. Double your deliciousness. But hurry, this BOGO deal won't last. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
The Democrat base, the army of mafia misfits, they're not aligned with us. They don't want to fix the problem and have the principles of Americanism. The people who support Democrats to this day, right now, will, no matter what, vote for Joe Biden or a earthworm. They will continue to be the problem.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Nick Philippus, co-owner of Joe Donut and a proud customer of Signature Bank. We're a locally owned artisan donut shop that focuses on chef-made small batch and craft donuts. We have 7 locations around the Chicagoland suburbs, with an 8th location coming soon. After opening our original stores in Glenview and Niles, we came to Signature Bank for financing for our new Mount Prospect location. From PPP and material delays in construction, Signature Bank was flexible and truly a banking partner that a small business like ours hadn't experienced before. Even their fraud department was able to stop a $30,000 fraudulent check from clearing our account. That allowed us to focus on selling donuts, knowing Signature Bank had our back.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investYRefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YRefi24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investYRefi.com or call 888-YRefi24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scan, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
8:38. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Right now, we're finding the Edens is beginning to drop a little bit. 36 Lake Hook Road to the junction, but the Kennedy still building. 85 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange, while the outbound Kennedy right now running at 21 to the junction, 44 back out to the big airport. The Ike at an hour 18 from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson an hour 7 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan 40 heavy minutes from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Stop and go traffic on the Reagan I-88 between Midwest Road and the Tri-State. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and 77 today, clear and 59 overnight. 63 right now. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Tucker Carlson was on Adam Carolla's podcast, and he sort of followed up with a question he posed to former President Trump in the interview he did that ran concurrent with the first GOP presidential debate, asking Trump if he thought he was under threat of being assassinated, essentially. Now he's not asking. He's telling Adam Carolla that's where the nation is speeding to at present.
I mean, look, if, they protested him, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously, and no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion.
I don't know that it's obvious. They're also telegraphing what they have in their back pocket, which is a constitutional argument that he's disqualified from holding office under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment that they haven't really pursued yet with all this criminal litigation pending. For more on that observation and, generally speaking, our politics, economy, and culture, Sohrab Ahmari joins us, founder and editor of Compact Magazine, contributing editor at the American Conservative. He has a new book, Tyranny, Inc., and the subtitle, How Private Power Crushed American Liberty, What to Do About It. So we'll get to that. Sohrab, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Amy.
Tucker's observations, the only conclusion you can draw at this stage in the process is that we're speeding towards the possible assassination of a former president. A little aggressive.
Yeah, I consider Tucker a friend and I admire him, but I have to say I think that's a little overwrought. And I certainly think that these multiple investigations are politicized. They are just an extension, the next step from what the establishment, I won't even say Democrats because it includes many Republicans as well, how they reacted to a populist president going back to 2015 and 16, and this dream of undoing in 2016 through, I don't know, I don't even want to recount all of it, but the Russia collusion hoax, the first impeachment, the second impeachment, Ukraine call, all of that, and now it's come to this. But I think, likelihood of an assassination is very low, and I think that's a bit overwrought for me as much as I admire Tucker.
Well, with so much of your mind share devoted towards this representative republic and the direction it's headed culturally and in every other way, I mean, how much of a threat to the stability of America do you think that I would call it the targeting of Trump's elimination from our politics, how much impact does that have? Will that have?
I really, really, really worry about it, Dan, because what's happening, you can look at any individual case and you can say, well, Trump said some bad things on that Georgia phone call. I won't go into the details, but you can say, oh, okay, yeah, but you see the totality of the Democratic effort, and what it looks like is an attempt to turn politics into a matter for law enforcement, and that's really, really unhealthy. It's what we call banana republics. So it's an effort to turn honest political contestation into a thing for the FBI and the security apparatus to quote unquote solve. And once we cross the Rubicon, and I'm afraid we may have already crossed the Rubicon, that becomes really unstable, becomes really dangerous. We try to think of any precedents in our history, and I can only think of Andrew Jackson and his war against the Second Bank of the United States, which was this sort of cherished elite institution. And when he took up a fight against it because he saw it as a corrupt vehicle for kind of the enrichment of elites, the entire elite closed ranks around him and denied the presidency to him, even though he won the popular vote in 1824 through, what people remember, the corrupt bargain between Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams. That's the only kind of precedent I can think of, but that's still, 4 years later, Jackson became president. He killed the Second Bank and survived and so on. But it's that level of kind of really, really fervid moment where the elites are really anxious about populist backlash and they're closing ranks in a terrifying way.
One more question on Trump. It's not all about Trump, but it's Trump as this exogenous event that occurred in D.C. And I just wonder, since you sort of came to Trump late, from my understanding of your progression, like you didn't vote for him in 2016, do you think that he has been, his boorishness and excesses notwithstanding, he's been a net positive by instigating sort of the outing of what was sort of quietly operating below the surface inside the Beltway? Or has he been a net negative on our politics and polity?
Yeah. No, I think that's a healthy development where we, Americans finally see that we do have a uniparty establishment, which was always there. But even maybe the members of the establishment themselves, they didn't realize the extent to which they were an establishment. And when Trump came around, suddenly someone like Bill Kristol found that he has much more in common with, any given Democrat than he does with the Republican base.
Yeah.
So he became self-conscious of it. And I think also, there's been good policy changes that he muscled through. On free trade, it was Republican and Democratic orthodoxy that all free trade is good. Now it's the conventional wisdom that, hey, maybe some of these trade deals were bad for American workers. Even like the Biden administration and Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, accept that. But it has come as a great cost, right? So, elites push back. When they're pushed, they push back hard. And they have enormous institutional power to do that.
Well, how can working class people fight back?
Well, I think that in the book, Tyranny, Inc., I point out the ways in which a lot of the threats now come from the private sector. That is, we're used to thinking of government as the only source of threat to liberty. We've learned since the Hunter Biden censorship scandal, elements of the COVID response, that actually corporate America can be pretty devastating too to our individual rights. And so, I in some sense, I call for restoring an older Republican tradition represented by figures like Eisenhower and Nixon that were a little bit more skeptical of corporate power and a little bit more friendly to, or the ability of working class people to mount organized countervailing power against elite power. So unfortunately, I think the Republican Party, despite Trump himself, is, as soon as Trump is out of the picture, it will fall back into the groove of big business can do no wrong. And I think it will pay a price if it does that, because a lot of those working class people, including the highest marginal share of union households who voted for Trump, the highest marginal share for a Republican nominee since Ronald Reagan in 1984, those people are smart, and they will notice if all the Republican Party does is wage kind of culture war, but doesn't pay attention to bread and butter issues, working class issues, free trade, immigration, etc.
Yeah, but the corporate power, the private power, and as we saw with the Twitter files, for example, the government doing through private sector businesses what they can't do what they can't do themselves, which is also unconstitutional. But this is the approach that they take. But that highlights a point, which is the idea that so you want to reduce corporate power in private hands. Where does that power go, and why is there so much power that these private companies have? Would it be so powerful if the government wasn't so powerful and the relationship wasn't so close? So, I mean, in other words, much of the corporate power you talk about is an indirect or direct result of successful rent seeking, where they act as agents of the state. So it still ultimately, fundamentally redounds to being a state power problem.
I would say two things to that. One is that that's always been how market societies work. Markets themselves are created and upheld by government. In other words, it wasn't like the market system just organically spread in the United States after the revolution. We had a Hamiltonian state that believed in all sorts of coercive measures to make sure that the American government and American economy looked a certain way. The second thing I would say is that system having been established, a lot of the concentrations of power you see in the corporate world can't be written off as the result of pure just government favor. Maybe that's true for corn, subsidies for sure in the agricultural industry. But a lot of it is just the fact that in a complex economy, getting into a market is very difficult once there are established players. There are no mom and pop auto shops. Auto manufacturers. There are no mom and pop tire manufacturers. It's very difficult, as we've learned, to start a new social media company just because of huge barriers to entry. There are what's called network effects and factory effects, and all of those favor largeness. And in some ways, the large is rational. It's good for the consumer. It's just that we need power on the other side, not necessarily for the government, but power from the other side for consumers and workers to mount collective power. And that's what we did in the New Deal order. We just empowered, farmers, workers, etc., to mount countervailing power to huge concentrations of private power.
What form is that? That's private action. That's unionization. That's cooperatives. What is that?
Exactly. You named all the important ones. The New Deal allowed electricity co-ops to form for consumers to push back against large utilities. It didn't destroy the large utilities. It just raised up the power of people on the other side of the market. Labor unions did the same thing in the employment context. There are others that don't need government intervention. When a department store buys, let's say appliances from Sears, it used to be Sears, it mounted countervailing power because it could buy in bulk, and it passed on the savings to consumers. So this is actually a pretty free market idea, which is why Adam Smith, the founder of laissez-faire kind of capitalist thinking, still supported labor unions and this kind of ability of ordinary people to band together to get a better shake out of the market.
We have to have you back to talk more in depth on this, but we do appreciate having you on again. Sohrab Ahmari is the founder and editor of Compact Magazine, contributing editor at the American Conservative. His new book is Tyranny, Inc. Sohrab Ahmari. Sohrab, thanks for joining us, and hope we can get you back soon to have a more extended conversation on this. A lot to talk about here. This is good.
Sounds good, Dan. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
It makes me feel better because it's feeding my body what it needs. I could tell when I first started this it was going to do something because my mind felt better and I just felt better.
I've seen the ads on TV forever, and I happen to be an entertainer. I'm 88 years old, and as a result of Balance of Nature, I'm back doing 10 shows a month. It just improved my overall health. Balance of Nature has balanced everything out, and it has really helped tremendously.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
All right, Dan, we're doing the segment Why Dan Proft is Single. Well, somebody called with some advice for you.
Tell Dan and Amy that if they want to advocate for a good way to meet somebody, try square dancing. I know many people who have met their significant others doing that. My current girlfriend, I met square dancing, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you meet good people. They're intelligent, they have a sense of humor, and they're a lot of fun. So skip the bars and try square dancing.
Yeah, I remember just like in elementary school when we would square dance.
I did square dance in elementary school, but I
did it alone.
I
couldn't find a partner.
I appreciate the advice and counsel. I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
You can shed the fat, be slimmer for the rest of the summer into the fall. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet helps you the natural way. No shots, no hormones, no surgery. You lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair and saliva and blood work along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that gets your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose the weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat, not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. That's Dr. Turovitz, who is the founder of NJ Diet. So you talk to the top guy. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at NJ Diet. That's njdiet.com.
The Daily Herald 2022 Best of the Fox winner for Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. The 2022 Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Wealth Management Firm and Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. Are you ready for a change? Choose Total Clarity Wealth Management. With a professional team of financial advisors and CPAs, they can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Their philosophy is built on solid relationships and trust, with access to expertise in tax planning strategies, 401k rollover services, estate planning, and more. They can help you be ready for anything.
Hi, this is Terry Murphy. The cornerstone of our practice has been to help clients stay focused on their goals throughout life's changes.
Get in touch with them at TotalClarityWealth.com. That's TotalClarityWealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Awards are based on number of reader votes. This award is not representative of the views of clients and is not indicative of future performance or services.
You listen to this station, so you know who John Stossel is. Want to meet him? John Stossel is the featured speaker at the Heartland Institute's annual benefit dinner on Friday, September 8th at the Marriott Chicago O'Hare Hotel. He's one of the few libertarians to ever rise to the top of American media, and boy does he have some stories to tell. A veteran of ABC's 2020 and the Fox Business Channel, Stossel has won 19 Emmys and a Peabody Award, and he has used his influence to effectively push back against government overreach. You're going to want to hear his tales from the front lines. We are also honoring former Illinois State Representative Jeannie Ives with the prestigious 2023 Heartland Liberty Prize. Join her, John Stossel, listeners of this station, and hundreds of lovers of liberty on Friday, September 8th. Don't miss the Heartland Institute's annual benefit dinner at the Marriott Chicago O'Hare Hotel for a night you will not forget. For tickets, call 312-377-4000 or visit heartland.org. That's heartland.org. We'll see you with John Stossel and Jeannie Ives.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Dan, single looking to mingle. Where are you going to go to?
Yeah, I'm online looking at area square dancing clubs.
Yeah.
Glenview Squares.
Oh, really?
Yeah. GlenviewSquares.org.
Anybody under 80 in that group?
I can't see anybody under 80 in that
A lot
group.
of real lookers there, huh?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
I could be the young hot number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be good.
All right, thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning. Now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Tensions high over a plan to use a Kenwood hotel as a migrant shelter. An ex-Fighting Illini hoop starter becomes a Peoria police officer. And the Cubs edged the Brewers in the finale to win that series with Milwaukee. Beautiful day ahead, sunny and 77, clear and 59 overnight, and WIN.